All right. Let's see if this works or if I get booted off by my stupid thing, whatever. My StreamYards, because it seems to not like me doing anything. It likes to mute me. Let's see if anybody even comes in here. It's 10 o'clock on a Sunday night. And I'm shot. I'm so tired, but I've been waiting to talk about this all weekend. Check this website out real quick. Interesting. Very interesting. Hey, Winky. How you doing, girl? Hope you're good. Carla, what's up, girl? What up? So it seems like they're adding more and more things to this website every... This is interesting. I just noticed this. They have all these different categories up here that we could go to. Home, timeline, victims, and then they have Shannan Gilbert listed completely separately. I wonder why that is. Good evening. I'm like, I was about to say good morning because usually when I go live, it's in the morning. So, hey, I know, figure skating coach. They're watching it downstairs. I can't believe it. It's been a close one. I really hope the Rangers don't win. No offense if anybody's a Rangers fan. It's not that I don't like the Rangers. It's just that I don't like the Rangers. Scary stuff. Scary stuff. And they were on a power play, which is not good. Not good. I can't believe the Rangers. I mean, well, I guess it is what it is. Everyone in chat, hey, Adam, how you doing? So, all right, there's some people in here. I don't know if you guys are interested in this. I've been following this case since day one. There's a serial killer who's still yet to be found here on Long Island. You guys know I've been following this case. So the whole reason that this case even came to be is because this girl, Shannan Gilbert, who went missing one night. Hey, Neek, she went missing. Damn it, are you serious? Fuck. No, I don't want to hear the fucking Rangers fans. Ah, it sucks. No. Oh, that sucks. Damn it. Oh, that sucks. What are you gonna do? That sucks. It's over. I'm waiting for my son to come running up here any second. Mom! He'll be up here any second. Or he'll be watching the celebration. He should be sleeping. He got his ass kicked this weekend. Not literally. He played really good hockey this weekend, but he got beat up. These kids were going for him hard. Like hard. Anyway, all right. So this case started because of Shannan Gilbert. She went missing, went to this John's house, called 911, disappeared from the house, ran screaming from the house, basically, that somebody was trying to kill her. Okay. And then she ends up going to a neighbor's house, knocking on his door, and then running to another neighbor's house, and then just disappearing into the night. And nobody found her. Nobody ever knew where she went. And in the search for her, which ended up occurring months and months later, they end up finding 4 bodies. So like she's the reason that this whole thing is even going on, because I thought about this the other day. If they didn't find those other girls' bodies, right? Then if they never found, well, if she never went missing, right? They possibly never would have found those girls' bodies, because if you think about it, this occurred, I think, in 2010. In 2012, Hurricane Sandy hit Long Island, and that section, pretty much that whole section of beach and roadway where those bodies were found were underwater. So potentially those bones could have dispersed and just gone missing, and nobody might have ever found them. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to think. So the other day, this case has just been a mess, okay? So the other day they decided to release the 911 call of that night, which has been, we've been hearing it was going to be released, and we've been, they were fighting it, and then it's just crazy. It's just been this whole ongoing thing for years. And finally it was released on like Friday, I think, but I was in Pittsburgh, not Pittsburgh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Penguins here. I was in what do you call it? Philly, so I couldn't go live. I was literally driving to Philly. I'm like, really? They have to do this when I'm driving to Philly? 10 years. And like, you guys know, I've been like, any updates on this case, I always go live about them. So I was like, oh, this sucks. But I was away this weekend and I just got home. So, and I don't want to go live tomorrow because I know that everybody's going to be, focused on the Johnny Depp trial tomorrow. So there's no, nobody's going to give a shit about this. So, all right, what I want to do right now is I'm going to play, they released the entire call, but I think for now what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to play the call that they played during the press conference, and then I'll put the link in the chat for the entire call, because in my opinion, I mean, well, it's up to you guys if you guys want to hear the whole entire thing, but it's just so crazy. I don't know why they were holding on to this for so long. I'm interested to hear other people's opinions. I've been following this case, so I kind of have. I'll stop it and obviously give some commentary as we go along and listen to this. But I think it's really interesting because, as you guys know, New York does not like to release 911 calls. Okay, so I couldn't get my 911 call. They don't do this. This is very, very, very not typical, especially Suffolk County, where there's a lot of corruption and all sorts of bullshit. So for them to even release this call, I think it's pretty amazing. And I really wonder why. Yeah, Lucy's World, me too, girl, me too. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, because um I listened to this about, I don't know, I want to say 5 to 6 times this weekend, maybe more. Because you know how when you listen to something, you listen to it the first time, and it's like your first time hearing it. So you're kind of just like taking it in. Then when you go back and listen to it, maybe a second, third, fourth time, you like start to take in more, and you're like, oh shit, I didn't notice that was said or this was said. So let me explain what's going on here. She was driven out to, hey Paige, she was driven out to what do you call it, to Long Island, from, I think she was from Jersey, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But she was driven out here as a prostitute. I believe she was found on Craigslist or one of the sites that she advertised on. This guy Joseph Brewer, who I really don't know, nobody seems to know too much about him, but I will maybe play this interesting little bit of an interview that he actually did, because he kind of, after this case happened, like, this guy was just like a mystery to everybody. And I guess there's probably, a few reasons for that. One reason is probably because the cops told him to keep his mouth shut. Another reason is, I mean, kind of embarrassing. He's in this upscale, secluded but yet exclusive neighborhood, right? Where all these, it's rich. This is a nice area, where people with money live, doctors, people with money, high society people live, right? And here he is, hiring a prostitute who ends up leaving his house in a craze and then goes around knocking on the neighbors' doors. I mean, that's kind of embarrassing. And I'm sure he was kind of mortified, but I also re-listened to part of his interview with this guy the other day, because I wanted to, now that I heard her call, I was like, shit, now I got to go back and hear what, he has to say. But it was kind of hard because I was really busy this weekend. So, all right, I'm going to play for you guys. Let's hope my computer doesn't F up like it always does. But I think they put the main highlights in this, part right here. So I figured I'll play this first, and then maybe we'll listen to the whole one. We'll see. But here's this explains everything probably better than I can. So let me know if you guys can hear it.
I'm Detective Lieutenant Kevin Byra, the commanding officer of the Suffolk County Police Homicide Section. This video was made to explain the circumstances surrounding the 3 911 calls made on the day Shannan Gilbert went missing. The full, unedited.
I'm just gonna pause this first, like as we go, but I have no idea who this guy is. Like I've never heard him. Oh, and here's another weird thing. I just have to point this out because, all right, they're trying. Look, before I even play this whole thing, sorry for making this so suspenseful. Before I even play this whole thing, I just got to point this out. Okay, the whole point of this is because this new commissioner came into the Suffolk County. Like 10 years they've been holding on to this thing, right? And now they want to be more transparent. He vowed to get this case solved. He made a task force. He's been releasing, kind of trickling out little bits of information to the public that most of us who've been like closely following know, but I guess main public doesn't know. He's trying to get an eyes on this case, which I really do appreciate because nobody else has really done that this far. Although he's not the one who created this website. The last police commissioner, Geraldine Hart, I believe her name was, she's the one who created it, but she only put a picture of a belt and like really nothing else. And it was just a big ruse. It was a waste. But this is what I find funny, right? You go on the news channel and they all point you to here to go watch the videos. And then if you go to YouTube and you watch the video, it's on unlisted. And I'm thinking, well, if you really want the public to listen to this video, why is it on unlisted? If you really want to solve the case, why is it A, unlisted? And B, why are the comments off? So, like, some killers, okay, will go back and revisit the scene of the crime sometimes and do crazy shit like that, right? Leave the comments on. Like, if you really want the public's help, then leave it open to the public. You know what I'm saying? Like, why do you close this down to the public? So that's just my little rant there about that. Okay. How come this
911 calls are available, and I encourage people to listen to them in their entirety. Portions of the call taken out of context will sound sensational. During the early morning hours of May 1st, 2010, Shannan Gilbert, a Craigslist sex worker and resident of Jersey City, New Jersey, traveled from Manhattan to meet a client, Joseph Brewer, at his home at 8 The Fairway, Oak Beach, New York. Shannan was driven to Oak Beach from Manhattan by her driver, Michael Pack. Neither one was familiar with the area. Neither one had been there before.
This guy looks like he's going to fall asleep while he's talking about this.
And neither one had met Brewer before. Pack waited in the car while Shannan was inside with Brewer. Pack was her de facto security.
De facto.
At 4:51 a.m., while at Brewer's house, Shannan called 911. This call lasts for more than 21 minutes. At times, Shannan is speaking calmly, but slurring her words.
Okay, I want you guys to pay attention to that. He says, so at times she's speaking calmly, but she's slurring her words. Now, I wouldn't exactly explain it as slurring, but you guys will hear. But just pay attention to what he says here.
At times she is not responsive, and at times she is screaming. During this call, Brewer and Pack are heard trying to get Shannan to leave the house. Shannan eventually does leave the house and runs to Gus Coletti's house, located at 17 The Fairway, which causes him to call 911 at 5:22 a.m.
Okay, so there's a few things that I didn't know that happened in this call, which I'll get to. But most of it is known. All right, should I read this to you guys? Why does this stupid thing keep popping up? During the early morning hours of May 1st, 2010, Shannan Gilbert traveled to meet a client, Joseph Brewer, at his home at 8 The Fairway in the Oak Beach Association. He just told us this, but okay, play it. Tell us again. Why is this thing popping up? It's really annoying. Sorry. Oh, I thought it was paused, Mimo. Hello, I'm new to YouTube. Is it playing or not? Okay. So now they're just showing.
State police,
Okay.
State police.
Yeah, there's somebody after me.
I'm sorry?
There's somebody after me.
Where are you?
There's somebody after me.
Okay, where are you?
There's somebody after me.
Where are you, ma'am?
I don't know.
You're driving right now?
No, I'm inside the house.
I'm sorry?
I'm inside the house.
What house?
I don't know. Can you check where I am?
I'm showing you guys this because this one specifically first because it has some of it transcribed. The other one is really hard to hear, and they didn't put the the transcription, is that what you would call it, on the other one. So that's part of the reason why I wanted to play this one, is because they transcribed not only her and the 911 operator, but Pack, the driver, and then Brewer, the John, in the background. because they're talking in the background the whole time. It's really, really hard to hear. So, um, I don't think so, Shauna. I don't think she was dying. I'll explain what I think after, but, so, all right, let me keep going here.
I'm sorry?
Can you trace where I am?
No, I can't.
No, do you want to know something? People are complaining that they're like, why couldn't 911 call her? Let me explain something because I learned this from my own call. Our 911 system across most of the country, but especially here too, is like archaic, and 911 is not like connected to any type of GPS. They're starting to upgrade and get a lot of the systems across the country updated to a GPS system where they could just automatically, detect your location exactly where you are. But right now, they still are working off of pings for cell phones to get people's locations, and then obviously landlines. Now she's calling. I'm a little confused about where she's calling from because at some point in time, you'll hear the operator like repeating back a 631 area code, which is Suffolk County here. So I'm like, wait a second, her phone number obviously wouldn't be from here because she's not from here. She's from Jersey. So like she's never been in this area before. This is completely new to her, this area. So it's very remote, it's very secluded. I told you guys this before, but in case there's a couple of people in here that aren't familiar, like this is like a very secluded area. There's no stores around, there's no gas stations, it's just houses and then beach, and that's it. The nearest gas station, you have to cross a bridge to get back to a gas station, and that's even still a stretch. I mean, there's no way somebody would be able to even walk to it from there. Like, you have to imagine there's no payphones, there's nothing around. Not that anybody would need a payphone nowadays, but you know what I'm saying? Like, if you were stuck out there, you're screwed because there's nothing around. You literally have to go back to across a bridge to really find civilization. So I could imagine how scary it was for her just being in this area, not knowing where the hell she was. I also kind of find it weird though, like, because I, I don't know. I don't know how it works in the prostitution game, but like, if she's putting the ad, right, and the Johns are contacting her, doesn't she know where she's going? Because she has to then call a driver up, right? And tell the driver, like, here's the address that I'm going to. Like, that's the only part that kind of confuses me is like, how does she not know at least some idea of where she is? So she drove a substantial amount away from Jersey. This is a good, I want to say maybe 2 hour, 2.5 hour ride from Jersey. I just did it today. It took us almost 3 hours to get from Jersey to out, by my house. I'm a little further east than this, but if you go distance wise where you have to cross the bridge and get to, go back, because then you're going back west, it's a ride. I mean, it's got to be a good 2.5 hour ride for her. So this was a very, very far drive from Jersey. All right, so let's go.
What's your callback number you're calling from?
Huh?
What phone number are you calling from?
Somebody's after me. Please.
Are you in Suffolk County or Nassau County?
I'm in Long Island.
Where on Long Island are you?
I just want to point out the difference. People that aren't from Long Island say they're in Long Island. People who live on Long Island say they're on Long Island. Just saying. All right, so now they have Brewer in the background. Let me go back there. And this is the John. Yeah, he wants to talk to you. The guy wants to talk to you. He's talking about the driver. He's telling her that the driver wants to talk
I'm in
to
Long
her.
Island.
Where on Long Island are you?
No. No. No, stop. No.
It says inaudible there, but I just heard him say, go ahead, talk to her. So good job transcribing it, cops.
Where in Long Island are you? In Suffolk County? Nassau County?
Huh?
I think he said, come on, talk.
All right. Are you calling calling me by my name.
All right, I didn't understand that when I first watched this, where she goes, "Why are you calling me by my name?" And I think it was Social Fade who actually pointed it out in the comments, where she was saying that he called her Shannon. These girls, and we'll look at it in a minute, but these girls, they don't advertise. Yeah, there's no street lights. No, she didn't know him at all, Neek. She had never been out there before. So the street lights, what am I saying? So they advertise under different names, like they don't use their actual real names. So she got even more freaked out because he came in and he called her the driver. Now she had used this guy to drive her all over the place. So she got freaked out that he used her real name, but he probably just wasn't thinking. And you're going to hear him in a second. And it sounds to me like he kind of thinks she's like joking at first, because you'll hear him kind of laugh at her. So to me, you'll see. I'll get into that. The one man that answered when she knocked said he tried to help her, but she took off. Yeah, that's what's his name? Gus Coletti.
Why?
County, you on the line?
Stop. Please. Stop it, please.
Why do they keep saying inaudible for Joseph Brewer? He just said you gotta go. I could clearly hear it.
Please stop.
Hold on, let me go back.
Why?
County, you on the line?
Stop. Please. Stop it, please. Please stop.
He says, "Come on, you gotta go," or something like that.
Please. Can you shut the door?
No, time to go.
Please.
He says it again. Hold on.
Please stop. Please. Can you shut the door?
No, time to go.
Please. Please.
Please.
Please.
Go that way, please.
So he says, "Come on, let's go. We'll all go outside. Come on, going outside, all of us. Come on, all of us. Come on." He's trying to get her to get out of the house, basically. He wants her out of the house.
Come on, let's go. Come on, we're all going outside. Come on, go outside. All of us. Come on, we're all going outside. Come on.
No, please.
Come on. Please, come on.
Please.
Come on.
Why?
All right, let me just tell you guys this, because you're going to hear this in a second. They don't know that she's on the phone with 911. They have no idea. So keep that in mind while you're listening to this, because at some point in time, her driver is going to ask her who she's on the phone with. So they don't know that she's on the phone with 911. They have no idea. I think when she called, Brewer went outside to go get the driver. So like, they don't know that I don't even know that they know that she's on the phone until they finally realize it, and you'll hear it. So he says, "I'll go upstairs, you leave. Hey, look, I'm going upstairs, you leave. I'm going upstairs, you leave, please." So he's just asking her to leave.
Please.
Take care.
What's the matter? Are you okay?
You hear him laughing. I want to play that again. That's her driver. He's like, "Are you okay?" Like, he's kind of laughing because I think he's kind of like shocked at what's going on. Like, why is she freaking out right now? Like, because mind you, I don't think she was at this guy's house for very long until she started to panic. So let me go back right there.
Hey, please. Take care. What's the matter? Are you okay?
What are you going to do? What are you going to do to me? I'm like, why? Huh? Well, I don't know. But it was something to know. Why? Are you going to kill me?
She says, "Are you going to kill me?" He goes, "Are you crazy?"
I think it's just a county on the
And she asks again, are you going to kill me? He says no. And he's like laughing because I think he thinks like, what the fuck is going on right now? This is crazy.
Why are you gonna...
Mind you, this guy was outside of the house. Like, he wasn't in the house. He was sitting. What these guys do is they bring these girls, they drop them off, and they stay there. They get paid, and then they go home. You know, it's like they're sitting outside. They're not in the house when the girl's doing her thing.
You freaking down, come on. I don't know, Noah. Let's go back to Manhattan, all right? We're in Long Island.
November Rain, this isn't a Long Island serial killer case. That I have talked about it on here before.
We're not near the water, please stop. Please, Mike.
Oh, hold on. I want to go back to that.
You freaking down, come on. I don't know, Noah.
So he's telling her, come on, you're freaking me out. Come on, let's go. He's like laughing because he's like not understanding what's going on with her. Like, why is she acting like this? And she's like out in the middle of nowhere.
Let's go back to Manhattan, all right? We're in Long Island. We're not near the water. Please stop. Please, Mike. Brother, come on. No, stop it, please.
So now they transferred her. A second New York State operator joins the call. So when you call into 911 here, it just goes to like a central dispatch location. And then after that, it gets dispatched to whatever precinct the person is nearest. Now, normally people give their address. So she doesn't know where she is. I think they're trying to figure out where she is. At some point in time, she says, I thought she said she's near Jones Beach or something. So they think that she's on state property, so they transfer her over to like the state police.
Hello? Hello? Please. What's the problem? What's the matter? What happened? Hello? Please, get me out of here, please.
He's trying to get her out of there, and when he does, she's like, just keep this in mind. She's confusing him. She's like, get me out of here, but he's trying to get her out of there, and she won't go with him.
Oh, you're being sarcastic about this. You're a part of this all along. I just met him just now.
He says, I just met him just now.
Shannan then ran from Brewer's house at 8 the fairway to Gus Coletti's house at 17 the fairway, a distance of 0.2 of a mile.
Hold on a second. I want to go back to that. So you guys see, if you could see my mouse thing. So here's where she started, right? She ran all the way down here to this house, or I forget which one they circled. And she was found all the way somewhere in here. This is where her body was found. So like, this is a big, it looks on here, it looks like a field of sorts, but that's not what it is. It's like a marshland of like thick reeds and kind of swamp area. So
to Gus Coletti's house at 17 the fairway, a distance of 0.2 of a mile.
Shannan.
she's screaming. You hear her knocking on the door.
Shannan interacts with Coletti. He invites her inside his home.
Shannan. Hello? Hello? I can't. Are you sick?
She's saying she needs help. He's like, are you all right? I don't hear him inviting her in, though. I don't know.
Don't keep yourself hurt. Where are you going?
She runs away now.
Wait a minute. Where are you going? What are you doing?
She then runs from Coletti's home, prompting Coletti to call 911. After Coletti's call, Shannan then runs another 0.2 of a mile to another home at 43 The Bayou, prompting a third 911 call made at 5:30 a.m. by Barbara Brennan.
This is really weird because why didn't they show us where Barbara Brennan lives? They only show us Gus Coletti's house, and then all of a sudden it's like the screen's black. Where does this woman live? I'm thinking it's possibly because she still lives there because Gus Coletti died, and he was an older man, and Brewer moved. So I guess giving their addresses out at this point doesn't really matter. But maybe this woman, Barbara Brennan, maybe she still lives at the house, I guess, but they still gave her address out. So I'm totally confused. I'm with you, Ellie. I'm totally with you on that. Hold on a second. Whoops, I went to the wrong screen.
Okay, Suffolk Police 873 was location of emergency.
Yes, I live at Oak Beach in the association. There's a young girl about 14 years old running around here screaming, and there's some guy trying to follow her.
Okay, let me pause that. This is like, dude, this is where my mind was blown because I didn't know any of this. I heard about Gus Coletti. I didn't know they were going to release his call too. And he says that there's a young girl about 14 years old running around here. So he thinks she's like a young teenager. Now, mind you, she was young, but like she's in her 20s young. He's thinking she's like a young 14-year-old girl. All these girls were so tiny. Most of them were under 5 feet tall or just at 5 feet tall. So she must have looked really, really young. It's hard to tell in the pictures, but she looks, I guess she must have looked really young to this guy. I mean, he's also in his 70s. But when he says that there's a guy following her, the guy he's referring to is the driver who followed her down the block in his truck to try to get her to get in the car, and she just kept running.
What's the address there?
I'm at 17 The Fairway.
All right, you have a description of the girl or the boy?
Pardon me?
You have a description of the girl or the boy?
He clearly said it was a girl.
The girl is about 14 years old, got blonde hair, very small. The boy, I can't tell. He was into like a Suburban.
What color?
Black.
Did you happen to get a plate number or anything?
No, I didn't.
Okay, telephone number you're calling from?
Fourth.
I don't know why they blanked out.
Are they still on the fairway?
They just went past the gatehouse where the entrance is.
And what's the name of the complex?
It's Oak Beach Association.
Okay.
Out at by Robert Moses.
All right, we got somebody over there.
I'll be watching.
Oh, okay.
All right. So she ran back to where you enter into the
Suffolk Police 875. What is the location of your emergency?
43 The Bayou. Some woman is knocking at my door.
What town are you in?
Neek, she was trafficking herself. She's a prostitute. Like, she trafficked herself.
Oak Beach.
I hate to laugh at that, but I mean, it's the truth. That's what they do.
Association.
She's already trafficked. She already had a pimp and everything.
What's the nearest corner street now?
Ocean Parkway. She says she's in danger.
Do you know her or no?
No, I don't. I'm not letting her in.
I don't believe. Wait, hold on. Now they're showing her house, but they're not showing. Oh, there it is on the map. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's all the way. Holy shit! So she went from here to here to here. This is the gate. Now the gate. This is just the gate to actually get in. I drove down here. I actually went in here, but I had to turn around because there's a gate. You can't get past this gate. But you drive down here and the entrance is like all the way out here somewhere where my mouse thing is, if you guys could see it. And then you have to drive down this long road, and it's a very like narrow road, and it's all trees. You can't really even see the houses. You can barely see them because you're kind of behind the houses. And then you come in over here where there's this little booth and there's a gate. So you cannot drive in there unless you know somebody. Is that a fucking cat or a dog? Oh, sorry. There's like a fucking cat that it looks huge standing out there. All right. So then she drove. So then I guess when she got to this booth, maybe there's a person in there. They weren't in there anymore. So then she runs this way and she ends up down here, all the way down by the water at this woman's house, which is crazy because look how many. Well, she passed only one house, two houses. If she would have ran this way, she would have ran past, more houses. But I can't make sense of this.
43 the Bayou. Some woman is knocking at my door.
What town are you in?
Oak Beach Association.
What's the nearest corner street now?
Ocean Parkway. She says she's in danger.
Do you know her or no?
No, I don't. I'm not letting her in.
She's banging on your door now?
Yes.
These operators suck.
Did she say what kind of danger?
No.
Oh,
And we live in a gated community.
No, so she'll
What's your
say
name,
the
ma'am?
same gate you go
Barbara
in is the
Brennan.
same one you come out.
What's there a name to that community?
Oak Beach Association.
Oak Beach Association.
And I have an elderly mother here.
All right, I'll get somebody right over there, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
This
Mind
is drone
you-
footage and footage shot from the
Hold on a second. Mind you, the cops didn't show up, or if they did, they didn't do much searching. Okay, so now this is showing you where she had to run into at the bottom left here. I hope you guys can see it. This little area right here is showing you what she ran into and what it looks like at night. And then right here it says personal items recovered. Okay, and then over here, this is where her body was ultimately found. So pay attention to this part.
ground showing the marshland. It was taken at the same time of year and time of day as when Shannan went missing. These reeds can grow over 12 feet tall. They can disorient someone inside them, causing them to lose a sense of direction.
It's like a corn maze. When you go into like a corn maze, you wouldn't know which way you were, because it's pitch black dark over here. I don't think people understand. Like, there is no fucking light in this area. It's lit up now because they're filming it, but you wouldn't see this. You wouldn't even see these reeds in front of you. That's how dark it is over there at night.
One cannot tell where the highway is or where the bay is. The reeds and brush can become impenetrable in places. There's a trench running east and west through the marshland. This was created to allow mosquito control. It is believed that Shannan fouled this trench. Personal belongings of hers were found just north of the trench. Shannan's remains were found north of the trench, about 158 feet south of Ocean Parkway, approximately 3/4 of a mile from where she was last seen. There has been information received during the course of this investigation that other people might be involved in this incident. They have all been investigated, and there is no reason to believe at this time that anyone else is involved in this tragic series of events. The police responded to Coletti and Brennan's 911 calls. Pack, Brewer, and Shannan were all gone. Gus Coletti provided a description of Pack's car, which was also gone. This created the possibility that Shannan had been driven out of the area, which caused a delay in the initial search for her. The police department has thoroughly investigated this case for more than a decade. The official cause of Shannan's death is undetermined.
They thoroughly investigated it, yet they still haven't solved it.
This official classification means there is insufficient or no evidence to determine or even to exclude an actual cause of death. The Gilbert family has hired a private pathologist to conduct an autopsy. His determination is there is insufficient information to determine a definite cause of death, but the autopsy findings are consistent with homicidal strangulation. That pathologist's report will be made available. This case, including the 911 call, and all of the other cases commonly referred to as Gilgo, in their entirety, were made available to the Behavioral Analysis Unit, or BAU, of the FBI. As part of BAU's review of the case, they retained the services of a psychiatrist to review Shannan's words and actions on the 911 tape, and also to review the facts of the case. BAU's opinion, based on their review of Shannan's case, the scene, the 911 calls, and the psychiatrist's review, is that Shannan Gilbert's death is not consistent with Shannan being the victim of violence or of a violent offender. Significant differences between Shannan's death and the circumstances surrounding the other victims' deaths were also highlighted by BAU. The Suffolk County Police Department is open to evaluate any evidence to be able to help us and all involved determine a definite cause of death. However, based on the evidence, the facts, and the totality of the circumstances, the prevailing opinion is that Shannan's death, while tragic, was not a murder and is most likely an accident. While we are of the opinion that this was an unfortunate accident, we remain open to evaluate any information that the public may have. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-220-TIPS.
Okay. I don't even like I don't even know where to start. This shit's so fucking crazy. All right. Clearly, if we go back, if you listen to the whole entire call, okay, because what they basically cut out of this call, and you guys could go listen to it. I don't know if it's really even worth playing the whole entire thing because they kind of took the, you know, most important parts and put them in that video. The rest of the call is really the 911 operator trying to get information out of her, but doing a really fucking terrible job at it. I mean, these 911 operators should be ashamed of themselves. They did nothing to keep her engaged in the conversation. They did nothing to ask her where she was, what was going on. Not once did they ask her what was going on, like what was happening. Why did she need 911? Did she need the cops? Was she in danger? Like nothing. They just let her kind of sit there and talk. She sounds scared, but she also sounds like she's on something. And here's the other thing. She was diagnosed, I believe, bipolar and then possibly schizophrenia, which her sister, if you guys have followed this whole crazy case, her sister was schizophrenic and actually murdered the mother shortly after her body was found. And God, this case is just so tragic. So could that be something that Shannan was dealing with? I mean, was she in some kind of drug induced, psychosis? You're dealing with somebody who has mental issues, which, bipolar people can at times lose touch with reality. That's part of being bipolar. Here's the thing though, we don't know. I don't know what type of bipolar she was. There's different types of bipolar. There's, depressive bipolars and manic bipolar, like all sorts of, I don't know the names exactly, but there's all different types, and with those different types come different symptoms and different things that go on. So is it possible that her and Brewer, maybe did some drugs and then she just got paranoid about something and this is all a huge coincidence? It is possible. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, if you really think about the circumstances, like those guys to me genuinely sound very confused about what's going on. I mean, especially her driver, he sounds to me genuinely confused because he's kind of laughing, like almost that he's not taking the situation very seriously. But I listened to this whole interview with Brewer and he sounds honest and sincere, and I want to believe that this guy really just didn't know what the fuck was going on, but like I still have questions. But the one thing that they don't mention in this little thing that they did here is the doctor. That's the big part of this that's missing out of this whole video. Shannan ran after she goes to Barbara Brennan's house, okay? The next day, this Dr. Peter Hackett guy who's connected with the police, who, get this, I just found this out. Was in Brewer's thing, so we have to take this at face value. He was in charge of this Oak Beach Association, okay? So like they had these little meetings and stuff, and they discussed different things, like I don't know, it's like a homeowners association, right? So he's in charge of this homeowners association. He's the president. He also is the person who's responsible for the booth, that booth that she ran to, and there's cameras in that booth. Well, it just so happens that on the one day that this crazy shit happens in this little neighborhood, oops, we lose the footage from the booth. We lose the camera footage from that little booth. So then there's this other whole story that he was claiming he called the mother. Shannan's mother was adamant about this, and she kept saying it and saying it and saying it, that he called her up from his phone. I'm sorry, he called her up and said that he took Shannan in that night, gave her a sedative to calm her down, and that he ran a house for wayward girls and whatever. Well, it ends up he denies this, okay, to the police. He denies that this ever happened. And then the next day, I think her aunt or somebody went there and they were knocking on the doors and whatever. They end up finding out that they traced the number and like he did call. They had the phone log or whatever, and they end up finding out that he did call Shannan's mother, and he did say this. I mean, why would this woman make this shit up, right? So she his dispositions for the lawsuit was very telling. Who is that? So he ends up calling her up and lying about it, right? But the police swear that they investigated all these people up and down. And if you listen to Joseph Brewer's interview, right, he says that, I mean, his whole life was dug into. They took his computer, they took his mother's computer, phones, everything. I mean, they like really dug into this guy's life. And they cleared him, they cleared Michael Pack, and they supposedly cleared Hackett, yet he's the only one who really hasn't spoken about this publicly. He was approached by the news one time and like pretended to have a heart attack or something, or his pacemaker or something. I don't know. It was very, very strange. My thing is with him, how the fuck would he be able to take this? I mean, she's a small girl, he's a big guy, but like this guy is like, if you see him, he, I think, has an artificial leg. How is he going to run through those reeds? But now that I'm looking at this whole thing, I'm wondering if maybe her belongings are found in that area. Hold on, let me go back to this real quick. I'm trying to figure out basically whether I believe she was murdered or this was a fucking accident coincidence. Or, you know, and she just went into some type of paranoia, you know, from doing drugs. I don't know. Like, the one thing Brewer doesn't talk about in this interview is like what happened. He acts like he has no idea what happened. He doesn't know why she got paranoid. Like, and I want to believe him, but it's very, very strange. How come this is like not letting me get back into the video now? God damn it, I hate this thing. I want to get back into that part where there's a map because hold on a second. Let me stop this one, and I gotta go share it now on YouTube. Hold on. Because I wanna explain to you guys what I'm thinking here. Hackett could see her body from his deck. Really? Huh. Interesting. Because I just thought of something while they were showing that, right? The sad part is that it took them so long to find her body that, like, any evidence of if it was a crime, it was completely fucking destroyed by the time they found
of
her.
Ocean Parkway, approximately 3.
All right. Why is this so blurry looking? All right. So I remember what it was like. Could you guys? Oh, you guys can't see this. Hold on a second. I shared the wrong one. Let me show you guys this. I just thought of this when they said this. How can I make this full screen? Oh, I don't necessarily know if it needs to be full screen. Okay. So she ran down here, okay, to Barbara Brennan's house. I have to find out where Hackett's house was, because if she went to his house afterwards, and then maybe his house is down here, let's just say, right? And he spooked her and she runs back up here. And this is, oh, hold on a second. I'm not pointing to it. You guys are not going to be able to see what I'm doing. All right. Let's just say this is the last stop. This is the last place, supposedly, that somebody saw her and called 911 right here. This is where Brennan lives, Barbara Brennan. Let's just say after she went to her house, she runs back out and runs maybe back this way or this way, and she ends up at Hackett's house. He spooks her. She runs back up this way, and then she goes down here for some reason. Who's to say that somebody wasn't chasing her? Okay. Chases her into the woods after she gets to his house. She drops her belongings when they grab her. Okay. Because why else would her belongings be dropped right there all of a sudden? They drag her back out, drag her back to wherever their house, and then they go to drive out of here to dispose of her over where the other bodies were found, which is further down the road. Okay. And they end up just saying, you know what, fuck it. I don't want to turn around because who knows where the next U-turn is. So they just pull over right here and they dump her body, because it said that her body was 150 feet or so from the Ocean Parkway, which is right here. Well, the other bodies were about 50 or so feet back from the road along the Ocean Parkway. So who's to say that she actually ran this whole way? How do they know she wasn't stopped here, dragged back to the street, and then taken in a car out here and then dumped over here? I just thought of that. There's no way for them to actually tell if she actually ran that whole entire way. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Why would she run this whole entire way? And then when she gets closer to the street where you actually can see the bridge and the lights, because there are some lights on this road. I don't know about over here. I don't see any, but there's lights in the distance. You could see Long Island in the distance, right? You could see the mainland in the distance. You know, she's right near the road. She would have to know she's closer to the road. I mean, there's not many cars there at night, but there could have been one or two cars to hear. You know what I'm saying? You don't necessarily have to see the road, but you could hear it if there's cars driving down it. I mean, there might not be a million cars, but there might be one or two cars passing every 10 minutes or so. I mean, who's to say that she actually ran that whole way? And why would she die right there in that spot? They say that she drowned, but I don't think she drowned. What I do think, if you listen to this thing's so deep, okay? Supposedly in this little area, there's all these like high society people, judges, okay, that work in the court system, politicians that work in the court system that are going to these sex parties in this area. There's been prostitutes that have come out and spoken up about this. And, maybe that Hackett guy, since he claims he worked with the police, right? He was a doctor or something for the police and worked on the TWA flight, which crashed out east. These people, they don't want their secrets getting out. So when they see somebody like her in the neighborhood running around, they don't want their secrets getting out. It's just very strange. This Peter Hackett guy needs to be investigated a little harder. Then I go back to the belt, which I believe the initials, one of them was an H, and I'm wondering if what his wife's name is, Hackett, because it was what was it, WH or HW? Ugh, I forgot. I gotta look at the belt again. Hold on a second, because it's seriously just not making sense. And if that's the case, then it sucks for a lot of other people. Here's the leather belt. HM. How do we know it's not WH? What's Hackett's wife's name? What if it's his wife's belt? WH. What if her name's like fucking Wilma Hackett? Or something. Or hold on a second. What if it's like his dad's belt or something? You know how like when somebody passes away, like especially like a father, especially with older men, they have certain items, like they might carry a handkerchief or something that they wore all the time that means a lot to them or whatever. How do we know that that's not a relative of his belt that was passed down to him? Because it does look like an H. I mean, it is an H. There's no question. So, maybe it was a grandfather's belt or his father's belt or something that he had. Hold on. I'm going to show you guys the belt. Dude, this guy needs to be fucking investigated a little bit more. I do believe that Brewer, I personally feel that there was a lot of shady shit going on in that little complex over there, okay? And there was a lot of shady characters in that complex. And Brewer was just one of them, okay? Rich people are not as innocent and proper and prim as we all think they are. But look at this belt. HM or WH. So how do we know Hackett's dad's name isn't William? Or, you know what I'm saying? Right. It could be Wayne or when. Come on now. Come on now. This is all... Yes, Nana, we got to do some investigating, I think. It's just all so weird how all of this ends up by this guy's house. He makes this phone call, and then the cops just write him off as a busybody. Oh, he's a busybody. He just likes to get involved in everything, you know? But why would you tell the mother of this girl that you took her in and then retract your story? Doesn't make any sense. Hackett's a doctor, Neek, who lied about Shannan coming to his house. Like, you see how she ran to all the neighbors' houses? She ran to Gus Coletti's house. She runs to Barbara Brennan's house. And then Hackett, although he didn't call 911, claims that she ran to his house. He took her in and then gave her some type of sedative to calm her down. And then he called her mother the next day and then lied about it. He called the mother the next day, said that he runs a house for wayward girls and yada, yada. Let me see if I can find his interview, because this guy's body language is just, it's crazy. My thing is, okay, if I don't think that Brewer and I don't think that the driver are in on this. I do think that she went into some type of just crazy psychosis. She doesn't sound right. She's not even responsive. She's definitely on something, you know, and something just does not sound right about it, about her whole demeanor. She's definitely on something. Was she drugged? Was there somebody else in the house? There's so many questions. There's just so many questions. Hold on, let me see if I can find this Peter Hackett interview. Peter, like, this dude needs to be fucking investigated thoroughly. Peter Hackett, Oak Beach. You guys see this video, you're gonna be like, okay, something's up here with this dude. It has to be on YouTube somewhere. Videos. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. All right. You guys got to see this because it's so weird. So weird. She was in her early 20s, Neek. I'm not exactly sure her exact age. I could tell you in a second. Hold on. All right. So check this out. This is very fucking strange. This is him. He's a fucking weird guy.
Gilgo Beach on the South Shore of Long Island, New York. It's the kind of place where busy city dwellers go to.
I'm going to have to pause this so I don't get a fucking strike from True Crime Daily. So sorry.
To find a quiet getaway. But for the Long Island serial killer, it's the perfect location for a body dump.
The serial killer with a disposal site has now relieved a lot of the stress because he knows exactly where he's going to bring the victim's body. Once they drop that body...
Oh, that's so creepy because that's exactly how it looks when you're pulling off that road.
They decompress.
That's the road.
Now they're ready and they hunker down and prepare for the next time out.
Some say he may have killed a
Here's the other girls.
dozen young women over 2 decades, but it was the disappearance of 23.
So that's Shannon for people that don't know. I hate this thing right here. That's Shannon. That's what she looks like. And now I can't.
3-year-old Shannan Gilbert that set the Gilgo Beach murder mystery in motion. Only 2 days after her disappearance, her mother, Mary Gilbert, hears from a
This is so fucking sad. Her mom was killed. Like, dude, this story is just so fucking crazy. Yeah, maybe she was 23. Yeah, he called her mom. He said he called the mom and that he took her in, and then he lied about it, and then they ended up finding out that he did call because his number was on her call log. And that information didn't come from the police. That information came from her attorney, John Ray, who's been one of the biggest fighters for this entire case. I mean, he's been very vocal about this case, still fighting it, even though the mother's gone. You know, Shannon's gone, the sister's in jail, and I think there's one sister left, and that's it. But he's still fighting for her.
Mysterious stranger.
I didn't tell you guys. Oh my God, that's a whole nother story. I found this whole like crazy website about somebody that worked for him, and they have all these recordings. It's crazy. This case is just insane.
I got a phone call from a man. He said, my name is Dr. Peter Hackett. calling to see if your daughter Shannon is there. I said, no. I said, why? Who are you? And he said that he ran a wayward house for girls. Shannon was there. She was upset. He'd given her.
Why would the mother make this up? Just why? Explain to me why she would make this up. It just doesn't even make sense.
Her some medication to calm her down. And he was worried about her. Is she home?
Dr. Peter.
This guy is so creepy looking. Just look at his eyes. Like, ugh, he's so gross. Like, he has like, what is that called? Michael Jackson has. It looks like he has vitiligo or something. That doesn't make him creepy. I'm just saying, like, look at his eyes. They don't look right.
Hackett, a former physician for the Suffolk
Ugh.
County Police, who was living in Oak Beach when Shannon went missing in the neighborhood.
I had asked him, how did you get my number? And he told me that, it's the policy that if anyone goes to his house, that he has to have contact information. And I knew that was wrong.
Gilbert family attorney John Ray.
Okay, John Ray is crazy. I've always said, since Laura had her fucking 256 court outfits, she was the John Ray of child court. Look at his hat.
Says
And his
Dr.
shirt.
Hackett is a man who deserves a close look.
He never ran such a home. It's complete fantasy. And why is he making that particular fantasy in this case? Why has that not been thoroughly investigated?
At first, Hackett denied making any phone calls to Mary Gilbert.
Dr. Hackett denied on national television and in writing that he ever made those phone calls.
He later admitted making the calls when the phone records were made public. But
What the fuck, dude? Why is he not investigated further? I don't understand. Sorry, Long Island girl. YouTube sucks.
But Hackett claims he never said anything about running a home for wayward girls and that he never met Shannan Gilbert. Crime Watch Daily reached out.
I want you guys to notice his limp, okay? Because I think he has a prosthetic leg. I'm pretty sure.
But Hackett claims he never said anything about running a home for wayward girls and that he never met Shannan Gilbert. Crime Watch Daily reached out to Dr. Hackett's attorney, James O'Rourke, several times with no response. In an interview with Newsday, O'Rourke said, quote, he never saw her, he never met her, he never treated her.
So why
and
did
to
he
this
say
day, police won't even call Hackett a suspect.
So why did he fucking call her mother, and where did he get the phone number from?
They say that he's an exaggerator. He likes to put himself in the middle of things, but he's otherwise harmless. And from the facts that I have, that's dramatically untrue.
He does. I thought so.
And when Shannon's body is finally found, 19 months after she disappeared, Mary Gilbert gets the shock of her life when police take her to view the scene.
One of the detectives picked me up in his car, drove me to Peter Hackett's house, took me on his back balcony of his house. And from his balcony, they pointed and showed me where they found my daughter. Behind his house.
Wow. Just wow.
I'll never forget that day.
You were on Peter Hackett.
Listen, I'm going to just say this. Don't ever fuck with a mother's instinct. Don't ever fuck with a mother's instinct. I think that her mom felt so very strongly about this guy for a reason. And moms are usually fucking right. They know. They fucking know.
It's back porch.
Yeah. Why? Why would they do that? Why would they take me there? Out of all the other houses, why did they not just walk me down close to the water?
Okay, to be fair, he was connected with the police. I don't know, maybe they didn't want to disturb the other residents, and they knew that he's a busybody and he wants to be involved in everything. I don't know. It is strange. It is very fucking strange.
The case has heated up with the Gilbert family suing Hackett for the wrongful death of Shannan.
Dr. Peter Hackett has given 3 depositions in regards to the Shannan Gilbert civil suit filed by her family against him. Now, he claims he had nothing to do with her death, but her family feels otherwise.
We caught up with attorney John Ray as he
found
headed into
it?
the Suffolk County Courthouse for his latest deposition of Dr. Hackett.
What are you hoping to learn today that maybe you didn't learn before?
I'm hoping that Dr. Hackett will finally tell the truth about something. He seems to have not done that on most things. And
Yeah.
possibly we have some questions that will elicit new information.
Peter Hackett has refused a formal interview with Crime Watch Daily, but we waited for him in the...
See, that's another thing. Why won't he speak? If he's innocent and nothing happened, why is he hiding behind an attorney? It just makes no sense.
courthouse parking lot after his deposition to see if he had anything to say.
Did you run a home for wayward girls? Of course not. So you didn't have anything to do with Shannan Gilbert's death? Of course not.
We never quite got his side of the story, but we certainly got a shocking interview.
So you never ran a home for wayward girls, and you had nothing to do with Shannan Gilbert's death? That's correct.
But don't forget, Shannan's mother says he absolutely told her he ran a house for wayward girls in a phone call to her.
What about all the other girls?
Ah! Jesus!
What was that?
My defibrillator. Your son's 911. No, don't. No, it's all right. I'm a doctor.
I'm calling 911.
I'm a doctor. If your fucking defibrillator, whatever the fuck it is, if your fucking defibrillator, I can't say the word. You guys know what I'm saying. If it fucking went off, it doesn't, like, if something happened, it doesn't matter if you're a doctor. That's like, oh, I have a heart attack. I'm a doctor. You can't, like, perform heart surgery on yourself. What the fuck? Dude, he just gave himself away that this was fake.
You call 911, I'll refuse.
I'm going to call 911.
Oh, please don't.
Please, doctor, let me call 911.
Okay, would you find out? These guys caused me to have a defibrillation. Just take
Oh, yeah, see, he does have some serious vitiligo on his arms.
pictures of these clowns, would you?
Despite all the drama, John Ray promises the case against Hackett will move forward.
There are wayward girls in this case, and they're all laying along Oak Beach. That's the home for wayward girls.
Dude, this guy is so fucking spot on when he speaks.
And just maybe, the mystery of the Long Island serial killer can soon be put to rest once and for all. The families of the victims deserve as much. So
I feel like that was his little way to show that, like, I couldn't possibly kill a girl. I have a defibrillator. You know what I'm saying? I'm weak. I'm easily scared. Like, I would never be capable of doing these things. I don't know, dude. This guy is fucked. Fucked.
Mr. Ray was able to help. And he still is.
And he still is.
And he's not going to stop. Thank you, Jesus, until we get the truth.
That's true, man. That is true. He has not stopped until the truth is coming out. She's right on that.
And Mary sincerely doubts that her heartache is shared by the same man she accuses, despite appearances.
Ah! Jesus!
What was that?
I love the cameraman's response. He's just like, what was that? Like, no sense of urgency whatsoever.
Defibrillator.
Now, there is some new hope for the families of the victims at Gilgo.
Okay, I don't know much about defibrillators, but, like, would they even cause something like that to happen? I mean, yeah, exactly. Amber Heard's terrible acting. That was right up there. It's because he knows people, and the burlap was used in Christmas gifts in the community. No. Interesting. Interesting. This shit's so fucking crazy. Dude, I don't listen, I don't mean to just judge people by like appearances, but like that guy just he looks like the guy who would hire fucking prostitutes. Like he just looks like that fucking guy. That like he's probably miserable in his fucking marriage. You know what I'm saying? He's a fucking dweeb. You could tell he grew up his whole life a fucking weirdo, outcast, but he was just smart and became a doctor. And it's just Lucy's World. Are you fucking kidding me, girl? No. Dude. Why is this not why is this not being investigated? Let me just go back to something right here. Wow. Somebody needs to send the fucking FBI my live right here because I think we just solved the fucking serial killer case. I swear to God, this shit's fucking crazy. Wow. Where did I put the other window? Hold on a second. Dude. Wow. Web Sleuths had it posted. Interesting. So maybe they were onto it. His dad's name's Walter. That is interesting. That's funny because I'm actually on that Web Sleuths board, but I never seen that. There's so much shit to read on there, dude. I mean, and it's very confusing because you're reading it in a conversation. That's why I'm so glad they did those podcasts about this because, like, I never understood the Burke side of things. There's this whole section of Web Sleuth called Hawkshaw's Report or some shit, and it's like that part details a lot of the Burke stuff, but it's really hard to understand. So the podcast like spells it out beautifully, but hold on a second. This is fucking insane. I feel like they have to fucking look into this guy. I just the whole thing is with the prosthetic leg, like and his defibrillator, can he fucking overpower women? Let's go into evidence here. Articles recovered. Dude, if his dad's name is seriously Walter, this is just I mean yeah, Neek, right? I thought it was someone else too. Hey, he could still be involved. Not gonna. So there you go. Walter Hackett. Walter Hackett, right there. There's the belt. And then here's the belt. That's how it appears on the belt. Now it's like, would you write it WH or HM? Of course, it has to be two letters that could be flipped either way. Fucking A. You know what I'm saying? Like, it couldn't be a B. It had to be an H and an M. It couldn't be like a T. But that's interesting. That is fucking interesting. Wow. I don't know. I just feel like something happened. Maybe here. All right, here's a scenario that's possible. Maybe Shannon had been out to that area prior to this, right? But didn't remember, I'm sure these girls have been to a lot of different places. They probably don't pay attention 100% while they're being driven there. Maybe she had been out to that area before, and maybe once she got there, she realized it, or something. Something might have triggered her memory, and maybe that's why she started freaking out because maybe she had been to Hackett's house before prior to ever going to meet Joseph Brewer, and then maybe that's what spooked her to begin with, that she realized that she was in the same area. Maybe he scared her at some point. Maybe who knows? Who knows? But just something about the whole thing isn't fucking right. The police skipped over their friend. Who is that? Hold on, let me go back up here. What do you guys think? The podcast is very good. Okay, so now hold on. Let me see if I can find this Brewer thing because that's also really interesting. Let me just get out of here for a second. Pictures taken, make them in opposite places. Yeah, they flipped it. Maybe couldn't be compared. When all this stuff was found, it was, years later. So a lot of the DNA evidence, if there was any, was ruined. The bodies were decomposed. Like the beach of all places, if anybody who lives by salt water knows that salt water fucking destroys, like very quickly too. Very quickly. Salt water destroys shit. So, I mean, any DNA evidence that was over there was just, the environment over there is just really harsh. It's hot, it's in the summer, it's freezing cold in the winter. I mean, those bodies were there for a while, some of them for years before they were discovered. So a lot, they never said that belt that they found could have been with the first girl that went missing. So potentially it could have been laying there for 4 years, 5 years by time it was found. So I read that Shannan knew one of the Gilgo 4 girls. I read that too. That's what I'm saying. Maybe we don't know what she knew. You know what I'm saying? Like prior to going out there, or maybe she heard something. Maybe just, who knows? Brewer, I mean, I want to believe this guy. I want to believe that he doesn't know any of these people, that he never met Hackett, that he didn't, I'm sorry, he doesn't claim to not have met Hackett. He said he had met him at some of the association meetings, but that, they never really interacted with one another. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me see if I can find this. I don't know if I'm going to be able, I guess I will be able to. I think it's on YouTube. This interview with Brewer. Frank McKay. Bring it down. Okay, Joseph Brewer. This guy interviewed, this is like it's a podcast, but it's actually really interesting because he interviewed a lot of the people in the Oak Beach area. And oh no, he's not on YouTube. That's right. Okay, I'm sorry. He's not on YouTube. Frank McKay. I forget what he did, this guy, and how he knows all these people, but he let's see if we can play this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to play this on my computer. Let's see. I'm sure I don't see why I wouldn't be able to, because I think it's really interesting to hear from this guy because nobody had heard from him in so long. Can I press play right here? Is there, hold on a second. I don't want to use SoundCloud. I hate SoundCloud, but let me see. I might have to. All right.
Breaking it down with Frank McKay. This is 10.
Hold on a second. Why do I have to sign into fucking this thing? Just play it. Is it playing? What the hell's going on here? This is why I hate SoundCloud. It's so annoying. Like, oh.
Of course, we all know he spent some time in Oak Beach and purchased a home in the late 90s in Oak Beach. And I guess that's where our story begins. Joe, how are you?
Fine, thank you, Frank. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
You don't buy that he was an unemployed, what is it? What is he? Unemployed accountant paying $700 for a prostitute. No, he's definitely not unemployed unless he was some kind of fucking trust fund baby.
Oak Beach in the first place.
It was interesting. We had family friends. It was actually someone who knew that was selling the house. And they reached out to us and they, wanted to look at it. I went there. It's a beautiful place. The views are great. It's over at the beach. And I enjoyed the beauty of it. I love the water. I grew up.
Who's us? Who is us that bought the house?
Said in West Islip, I, went to the beach a lot. And, that's, it was referred to by a friend and then a friend of the family. And that's how we got it. We put the deal together and bought it and purchased it.
The idea of it being a small community is almost an understatement. I think there's 76 homes on. Is that sound right? Is that roughly?
That is a small community, especially for Long Island. 72 homes. That's small.
Correct. Yeah. Yes, that sounds correct.
In that whole area, like Captree and Oak Island and Gilgo and West Gilgo, I think there's 450 homes in the whole area. So I mean, you're in an area that's very secluded, right? Very very quiet. I was just there the other day, and people were looking at me. Cops came up to me. Has it always been like that, or has it only been like that since the events of
inlet to the fire line, inlet to the inlet? Actually, I don't feel like such a hermit as I did over there. But actually,
I want to get to the part where he talks about Shannan.
And I got an earful from certain residents about him. Dr. Peter Hackett, resident,
where. The more the actions, I don't feel like such a hermit as I did over there. But it's a beautiful place. But yes, very private, very isolated. That's for sure.
When you were over there, I mean, one of the residents that's talked about so much, and I got an earful from certain residents about him. Dr. Peter Hackett. And he almost seemed like he was running the unofficial mayor or whatever. Just give us a little background on when you met Hackett, if you don't mind. And I don't know your relationship with him, but give us a little rundown on Hackett. He does seem like he almost monitored the place while he was there, and he seemed like the unofficial constable or something of Oak Beach.
Honestly, they have
the unofficial constable.
Had a lot of events, a lot of meetings. I wasn't really active in a lot of the meetings. I'm sure I ran into Peter Hackett.
Yeah, it is a great place.
Prior to the Shannan Gilbert incident and stuff. I didn't really know him, nor I think I would have recognized him on the.
I just want to say, like, the way he just says her name like that, the Shannan Gilbert incident. I know that a lot of the times when people are guilty, they'll try to kind of like detach themselves from things. So like they won't refer to somebody by name. They'll refer to it by like, oh, the thing that happened, instead of like actually saying the person's name. So like it's just like little things like that make me want to believe this guy is just telling the truth.
On the street, but I'm sure we ran into each other, introduced each other and shook hands once or twice. And like they meetings every quarter or something. I'd go to a few. Not that many. I didn't really come to meet Peter Hackett till after the Shannan Gilbert events happened. The first time I met him was the first day, the day following that Shannan Gilbert, did go missing. I had no idea she was missing that next day. She had left.
All right, so he kind of just gets into like the talking about it, which is another thing. Like he didn't have to really be asked about it. He kind of just started talking about it on his own. You know what I'm saying? Like, which obviously is the reason why he's here. But my problem is that the guy interviewing him, this Frank McKay guy, he doesn't inquire too much about what happened with Shannan before she ran out of the house. Like, he kind of just lets him run this whole narrative, and then he kind of does this like monologue, right? And then I don't know. It's just that part is a little weird to me, because it's like, well, why didn't you question him more? You're supposed to be interviewing. Like, part of me hates when interviewers constantly interrupt and ask questions, but the other part is like, you need to ask some questions. This guy didn't ask enough questions.
My house the night before. It was the next morning, I got a phone call from Pac, the guy who drove her there. And, I'll never forget it. It was, I received a phone call the following morning, and someone asked for Shannan. I said, oh, no, you got the wrong number. And the guy said, no, wait. Shannan. Shannan Gilbert, the girl that was here last night. I said, oh, that guy. I said, oh, she left. And so the voice on the other end of the phone said, no, she didn't leave. What do you mean she left? She ran away from my car and went running through the neighborhood. And, at that point,
That's so weird to me. That's the one thing that bothers me about the driver, right? Like, he had driven her before. They obviously knew each other. How the fuck do you see this girl in this kind of panicked state, right? She's obviously having some type of, mental issues, whether it's actual mental issues or it's a drug induced, thing or whatever it is. Like, she's clearly scared, she's terrified, and your job is to kind of be a protector of sorts, right? You're supposed to transport her from point A to point B. And it's like you fucking just left as she was running. Like, did you get out of your fucking car and look for her? Like, those are the things that are a little fucking unclear, and I really wish this guy would get back on the show, because I would love to hear a little bit more from him. He does talk in the podcast a little bit, I think. One of the podcasts that I watched, I don't even remember which one it was, but like, we need a little more information from him. Like, I just don't understand how he got in his car and drove all the way back to Manhattan without her that night. It's just like mind-blowing to me. He thought she was trying to get out of paying him. Oh.
So I was like, what? What do you mean? She goes, yeah, she ran away from my car, was banging on doors. And, it is a private community. I was very taken back. I was a little upset. Like, I didn't know she was knocking on all my neighbors' doors, at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. So after that, after I got off the phone with him, I immediately called.
That's interesting. So if she was banging on the doors at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, I forget what time she got there, but she had to be there for a while.
911 and said, I just got an odd phone call, because he had said she was missing. So I knew, I had to find out what was going on quickly. So after I called 911, an officer came down, Suffolk County, and it was, he knew about the incident. I don't think at that time there was, not much alarms going on. She hadn't been found, but it had been less than 24 hours. They didn't want to file a missing persons report, which we tried. So I went down to the gate, talked to the president, Gus Coletti, because somebody mentioned she knocked on her door. She knocked on his door.
Nana, that's what I wonder. I wonder if there was another person in the house. There was talk, and I think there's an interview with him too. Brewer had this drifter staying at his house. There was some guy that was homeless and I don't know, ended up staying at at his house for a little bit, and they don't talk with one another anymore. It's like this whole, big thing, but people were accusing him at one time. So, I don't know if there was another person or she got a phone call or what. I really don't know. Maybe she got threatened through her phone. Who knows?
After she left my house, and I tried to get information on him. He didn't really know, but then I ran into Peter Hackett at the gate, and it was kind of odd because he was very.
The drifter claims he wasn't there when this happened, though. I think so. I think that's been
concerned about a timeline. He was the most concerned out of anybody. And
wait, let me go back.
And it was kind of odd because he had a house, and I tried to get information on him. He didn't really know, but
hold on.
Not much. It was, he knew about the incident. I don't think at that time there was, not much alarms going on. She hadn't been found, but it had been less than 24 hours. They didn't want to file a missing persons report, which we tried. So I went down to the gate, talked to the president, Gus Coletti, because somebody mentioned she knocked on her door. She knocked on his door after she left my house. And, I tried to get information on him. He didn't really know. But then I ran into Peter Hackett at the gate. And it was kind of odd because he was very concerned about a timeline. He was the most concerned out of anybody. And we took he wanted a chronological order of every event I could remember from the night before. And at the time, I was willing to give it to him. I was just, I knew that some girl was missing and, she had been in my house that night. And And when I found out days later, after the police, or a week later, after the police, Peter Hackett was denying that incident. And I mean, it happened. I don't know what,
He was denying that you spoke to him.
that I met him, and he was asking me for a timeline. And I was like, I told police, well, Mr. Hackett was, the guy who was in charge of the films at the gate, which were for some reason deleted that night of all the nights, which was the first thing that raised my. I'm not saying that's a criminal thing, but right away, looking back in hindsight now.
That is so weird that the films just happen to be missing. If the films were there, you would have seen her running up to the gate. Like, why are they missing?
Now, I see things different. At the time, I was confused. I didn't think anything was wrong. Okay, the girl went missing. Who knows? She running from the driveway. They had a fight outside my house. I didn't know what was going on. There's a lot of, unanswered questions out there. So at that gate, when Peter and his wife was there, who looked very upset. She was
Nana,
in the
you look
car,
fine.
very, very concerned. At the time, I didn't see everything as I see it now. Looking back, it was very odd that took a full notepad of everything. I offered that to the police. They never found the notepad. But it happened. I'll take a polygraph if he's one. It happened.
So he's saying that Peter Hackett had a full notebook full of all the details, like as if he was like an investigator, right? And then he tells the police about it, but nobody ever found this notebook.
And that was the first thing among his lies. That was the first thing. And that, I always said what always concerned me about this case was, in hindsight, I didn't realize this at the time when everything was coming down. But
yeah,
looking back, there was obviously three people of interest. Myself, because she was in my house. Pack, the guy who drove her, and Hackett, who, was telling everybody he was in his house at first, all the neighbors. And then he automatically denied everything. What makes me, look back right now and wonder is, we have three people that, are being questioned, wondering. You have three people of interest, which I completely understand. And there's two people that are fully cooperating. Me and Packett, I answered every police question. And I want to say, I feel so sorry for these families and the parents of these girls that was lost. It's a horrible incident, and I hope to God that it's resolved. And I would do anything to help, anything I can do to help them, help them get answers.
Let me just say this. And again, I'll remind.
I mean, he sounds sincere in this, so it's so hard to say.
Remind folks that you're listening to Joe Brewer and Frank McKay here, and I appreciate Joe coming on and talking this. But the one thing I got to say, and everyone will say the same thing, that you spoke, and when I say you, Joe Brewer spoke to the police. No lawyer. You didn't lawyer up. You didn't talk to.
Oh, Nana, I'm sorry. I didn't see I had your thing
giving
there.
your information. You spoke to the police first, like right away.
First one to report her missing to the police. But because, and again, I'm not.
So he reported her first missing to the police and
attacking the police department. I'm sure they did the best they can. Yeah, I'm not going, listen, it was. In life, mistakes are made. We try and correct them in time. And that's what I'm trying to help, if whatever happened. But I went to them and said, apparently this girl missing. She was in my house. And because, and I guess it's legally true, because I had no contact with her. I wasn't her husband or her father or something. I wasn't able to, pursue any.
Her name was Margaret Hackett. Wait, Mika must have Peter's father. That was the doctor who had the Wayward home. Late wife. His wife passed away. Yeah, but see, if you flip the belt the other way, hold on a second. It's either WH or HM. So then it would have been written Hackett Margaret. You know what I'm saying? It would have been backwards. But that's
missing
interesting.
Persons report. It wasn't until after that the parents, I guess her mother started to know she was gone, that they started asking me. But yes, I did cooperate. No lawyer. I reached out to them. I called Crime Stoppers. And the newspapers still show up in front of my house. I didn't know what was going on. So I called Crime Stoppers. Why?
Hold
what's
on,
going
I'm not
on
YouTube.
Hey, not to cut you off, but did Pack lawyer up? We know Hackett did.
No, he took a lot of. He was with me.
And Pack, we should remind everyone, was Shannan Gilbert's driver.
Correct.
Right, the driver. So as far as you know, he didn't, he spoke to the cops as well.
He did. I have to tell you, and listen, I'm not going to get into character or anything of it. But Pac and Nate was with me. We were searching. We were doing every can to light the alarms off and say, hey, something's going on here. This girl, whatever, she got upset. She ran away from her driver, in front of my house. She was upset. I don't know what caused that. Right. We'll get into that, but it had nothing to do with me, I believe. And now she's missing. So we were like, and I guess he was concerned. I was concerned because she was in my house. I didn't know how bad this was going to blow up into, but I knew it was a problem that had to be addressed. So in the beginning, we were the only two really searching, trying to get answers for her. And it wasn't until I think the mother realized that she'd been gone for a couple of days that, I got a knock on the door, it might have been a week later, oh, by the way, that girl you were looking for a week ago is missing now. And I was like, yeah, well, I was trying to tell everybody 24 hours after I was notified that there was a potential problem from Pac. I believe he would know.
Pac didn't call the police, and you were the first to call.
Nikki, you're good. You could drop it.
Call the police.
What happened was, and I'm not supposed to say these things according to police.
Listen,
at this point, it's so far gone. I can't.
There are new players in town. There's a new DA who wants to solve this. There's a new police commissioner who sounds like he wants to solve this, and we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Before you continue, what's your feeling about that? It sounds to me like you want this solved.
No, I do, and I'm so glad there's a new. Again, I don't know what went on in the department at the time. Looking back.
Hold on, I just want to show you guys this. So Walter, this is wow. Walter Hackett, MD of Mount Prospect. This is the obituary. Where's Mount Prospect? Is that upstate? Mount Prospect Church. Let me just see. When he overcame many obstacles, hardships, education. I want to go down to the part. Holy shit, this is a long thing. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but so let's see. This is the dad. Dear father of Dr. Peter Hackett. Wow. Interesting. Wait, what is this? James Dominican repeat. How do we know this is his dad, though? For sure, because what is this? Texas? Austin, Texas? In lieu of flowers, memorials to F.R. Patrick, Reardon Dominican Missionary Preaching Team in Austin, Texas. I don't know what that is. Was this from Web Sleuths or something? I'm just curious to know, how do we know that this is his dad, or not somebody else that's named Peter Hackett? That's his first wife died. That was way earlier. Peter's mom was these things. Wait, being that the images are reversed from being in the salt water. No, that's the back of a belt, though. I don't think it would. How would it reverse? You know what I'm saying? Interesting, though. It would be HW, but still, it's too close to home. I agree. I totally agree. It looks like a men's belt to me personally, but
there were cover-ups. It was so covered at the time. I didn't see, especially with the Hackett thing. Anytime I had information on him, I almost felt like the lead detective didn't want to even hear it. Didn't want anything to do for it, And I had information from the next day. The mother, Shannon's aunt, came to the house with a husband and had mentioned that she got a call from this Dr. Hackett, that Hackett had her in a house. And it was a relief for me. At that point, so the next day, I'm like, oh, thank God. All right, she's okay. This guy, Dr. Hackett called the mother and said, we have a Wayward home. I'm not sure what that is, but, that was told to me. So I was like, oh, all right, good.
Wait, who told you that? Shannan Gilbert's aunt?
Aunt and her husband came down, who is a military man. They came to my house. I took him into my house right away. I said, yeah, what's going on? It might have been a day or two later, but it was very close. I don't remember if it was the next day or 2 days later.
Did they seem antagonistic towards you?
Not at all. They seemed concerned, as I did. Never at one time was like, listen, this turned out to be a horrible
This is so weird.
People and families.
Hold on.
if I could do anything to help solve, I pray it is solved for those families, for the girl. I mean, it's a horrible situation. So, with Hackett calling, and then I find out that, oh, well, he said he didn't call. First, the mother heard the wife's voice. Hackett calls. He says he has Shannan in his house. Then he denies it and says, what is it called? Then they trace the phone back to his wife's cell phone. So apparently he called from his wife's cell phone. That seems like he's hiding something.
See, I don't know how he knows all this about the wife's cell phone and everything, but it's really fucking weird that this guy did all this lying for no reason. He's just a busybody, right? That wants to be involved. This is weird. It says that his dad, if this is his dad, through perseverance, hard work, and Golden Gloves boxing, he was able to work his way back to a college education, I guess, to become a doctor. Like boxing, like that's so random. He supported the family during medical school by driving a cab in Chicago at night. Wow. Look at how fucking long this thing is. I mean, this is a long obituary. Look at this. And then you see here it says, hold on a second. Dr. Peter Hackett. So that's really interesting. I just want to know how we know it's him, though. For sure,
Already, they didn't call from his phone. They trace call back to his wife's cell phone. And in my understanding, he says he accidentally hit his phone and the 10 digits randomly dialed Shannan Gilbert's mother. I mean, come on. Hell, who could possibly do? I can't even pick one lotto number. This guy's got 10 out of 10 digits in a row. And that was his alibi?
It's like that's hitting lotto, like you're right. But it's like being struck by lightning 10 times.
I mean, come on.
Wait, he said that he accidentally dialed the number. Like, how would you even fucking guess somebody's phone number? Give me a break.
Was born like I didn't. I'm so sorry I didn't think of it closer to the investigation. Because I was nervous. I didn't know. It was a crazy world that I was.
Well, now we could go even a step further, right? And investigate the places that he fucking moved and see if there's any fucking serial killings there.
Living in that, and it just. It couldn't imagine. And then
the part that's so crazy about it is like, what the fuck spooked her? I said to my husband, we were talking about this on the way home today, and I'm like, what if she had some like psychic premonition that's so far off, like far-fetched, but like, what spooked her to begin with? That's what, like, he doesn't talk about it in this interview, and it's so frustrating. Like, I understand that, yeah, Hackett's a crazy character, and he's, and it's very possible he could have played some role in this, but like, let's go back to like what spooked her at your house, to begin with. Why did she call 911? What happened at your house that night? It's just weird.
Next day, one of my neighbors tells me Hackett told his it was the wife Hackett told her husband, they were friends, that he had Shannan at his house and gave her a sedative to calm her down. This was information I got from a neighbor I know. I give that to the police. Again, it's like
and that's the same thing that he told the mother. Same thing. So he told the neighbor and he told the mother.
Didn't hear this. Oh, well, Hackett denied. I go, well, what do you mean he denied? He told, I don't care. So, we have it's day 3, and we have this one guy completely lying about this. So you have 2, me and Pac, again, I'm no hero or anything, but, we were trying to solve, trying to get to, because, we know, I know from watching TV that the quick, 48 hours or less, right? That's your time frame. You want to, someone's missing, you want to get them quick. So, we were pursuing, and then, I just, now looking back, it would just get pushed aside. Like, why was Hackett given so much loose? I don't understand. Now my interrogations too, like some misinformation, and, it doesn't really matter at this point, but there was never ever one, like, the news, like, oh, they raped.
He's so all over the place when he's talking, but I think it's because he, like, first of all, I mean, he's not like a fucking radio personality, but like, he's just going over everything in his head, and it's just like there's so much to like take in and say. I don't know. He's kind of all over the place with this.
Warranted you. Never once. I called them. I invited them to come to my house. I encouraged them. There was never a warrant. I gave my DNA, my car, everything was all
right. So you checked that out. So it's like
all
legit.
voluntarily given because I want to do anything I possibly could to help the investigation. And I mean, I wanted it solved. There's nothing ever.
Let me.
Hello, fuckface. I don't know if are you a troll? Like, with a troll name? Trolling Starlight? What's going on here? Because this isn't even. It's about the Long Island serial killer. This is the John that had Shannan Gilbert.
Just remind folks, if you
one of the girls that went missing.
Just tuning in or turning on your radios a little late, Frank McKay here. So much more importantly, Joe Brewer from Oak Beach, and
there's 3 parts to this interview. I'm not going to play them all, but
he's giving us an exclusive on the story of what happened in the aftermath of Shannan Gilbert's disappearance. And I'm going to repeat it. He has never lawyered up. Just to let you guys know, like, this Joseph Brewer, that he sounds like such a Long Island guy. Like, I can't tell you how many people I know who have the same exact voice. This is how people sound here. He's never. I mean, did you think about lawyering up? I mean, you gave DNA. You talked to cops without.
I will even say this to the lead detective.
That's really interesting that they said that he gave DNA, because why would they take DNA if they didn't already have DNA? You know what I'm saying? Like, why take DNA from people if you don't have DNA to compare it to from the murder scenes? Just saying.
I said straight to him, and they asked me if I don't know how it came up. I said, no, you're my lawyers to the police, because they wanted the same thing I want. They want the truth. I want this solved. They want.
I would say it's crazy.
I had people. I have lawyer friends said I was crazy to do that, but I knew one thing for sure that nobody knew. I knew I didn't hurt anybody. I know.
By the way, they don't think you did.
Oh, it says the obituary was full of lies. Interesting. Because that's a extensive story there. I mean, I didn't read the whole thing, but that's quite extensive.
Because if they did, there would be the glass between you and me right now. You know what I'm saying? It's
and my silence. I don't know if this is pertinent. It's interesting because, the reason why I've been quiet for all these years is because at that time, the police in charge said to me, they said, can Newsday, can the media, can everybody arrest you? Can we say, Joe, if we thought you were guilty, we would tell you to do all the media, all the shows you want. When we think someone's guilty, we tell them, talk to everybody. We know you're innocent. We need you to be on our side. And that means shut your mouth. So when the head detective of the police is telling you, shut your mouth to help me with the investigation I want to solve, I kept quiet. I mean,
which you did, and by the way, I don't know that it helped you public relations wise to be quiet.
No.
But you listened to what the cops said.
Oh,
and
interesting.
Listen, I've been maintaining.
Let me read this real quick. It says, when I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it was this is a blog. Somebody is writing a blog about this case, and they said when it came upon this case after watching the 48, they're saying that they're highly suspicious of Hackett. He's the number one person of interest. So they said when I came upon this case after watching the 48 Hours mystery episode mentioning Dr. Hackett, I was intrigued how he could be ruled out as a person of interest so quickly. I think we all were. I wanted to know more about this particular man and went on a search for what information was out there on him. That is when I came upon a particular thread titled The Last Happy Hour on Web Sleuth, started by True Spider, who is also featured in an article in the UK GQ magazine. True Spider was a Long Island resident and backed his information up with links and articles and made interesting observations of Dr. Hackett's father's book, The Last Happy Hour. Oh, so his dad wrote a book. Interesting. Which I have also read myself. There were a lot of controversy between members stemming from this particular thread and discussion. 3 major articles of discussion were written in Newsday in 1997. The first, an obituary for Charles J. Hackett. Oh, his name's Charles J. Hackett. Interesting. Hold on a second. Millville, 1997, Nassau and Suffolk section. Okay, hold on a second. Charles Joseph Hackett, a retired administrator at Hempstead General Hospital, died Tuesday at Good Samaritan Hospital. That's where I was born. That's crazy. That's actually where I was, I was born. All right. He was 87. Mr. Hackett had been admitted to Good Samaritan Hospital for 4 days in early August after suffering a stroke. Mr. Hackett had a wide variety of occupations throughout his life, including including that of a banker, tugboat captain in World War II, hospital comptroller, poet, author, and administrator. Mr. Hackett was born in Flatbush in 1909. He attended Columbia University and worked as a banker at Brown Brothers. Oh my God, this is a long thing. Hold on a second. My father. Oh my God, this is long. All right, it's going through. Hold on. This is like super, super long. I'll put the link in the chat just for anybody who wants to read the whole thing. But let's see. The obituary was written by Dr. Charles Peter Hackett, liar extraordinaire. There are so many inconsistencies and bold-faced lies to go through. Each one took a lot of time to understand. You would have to know Hackett's father's highest education was 8th grade, so he couldn't have gone to Columbia University. An entire portion of Army. Oh wow, this is fucking a lot of shit. We got you guys, if you want, I'm gonna put this in the chat to go through it because it's fucking long, dude, and interesting. Okay, so then where'd the Walter Hackett thing come from? That can't be his dad then. Hold on. Let me find my chat real quick for anybody who's interested. Good find there. Good find. This is interesting. I'm going to have to look at this when I get off of here. Hey, Smokey P. Where is my chat? Hold on. I have so many windows open right now. I'm having a little trouble here finding this. Where is it? It's so weird. I just had it. All right. There we go. Interesting. I was gonna say, why would he be in? Hey, you too, Smokey. Why would he be in? Wow, this is really interesting. I'm like, why would he be in another state? I mean, he could be. I'm just saying, we need Zoom case discussion to solve this crime. Seriously, this is a blog. It must be Charles. Yeah, it makes more sense. But damn, I wanted it to be Walter. Could he be Walter Charles Hackett? That is interesting. Very interesting. Hold on. While I'm here, I'm going to put the link for this Joseph Brewer interview, because if you guys want to go to this radio station and listen to the other 2 parts, there's really not much more here that I'm playing, but it's quite interesting. It just bothers me that he doesn't get into the whole part of like what the fuck happened when she started bugging out in your house and left. That might be in part 2. I forget, because I listened to the first part and I think maybe the second part. So I'm getting a little confused, but there's only a few minutes, not even, left in this.
Up. I'm not saying I know who killed these people. I'm not saying what happened. People have their theories. All I'm saying on this show, time after time, that I don't know who killed them, but I know who covered it up. And to me, the county executive, when he came in, he appointed Jimmy Burke, the police chief. And by the way, I knew both of these guys. I have no ill will, or I had no ill will for any of these guys. Certainly Spoda, I had no ill will from, but they covered up. They covered up a serial killing, is what they covered it up.
I would hang too much onto a blog, though. Hold on a second. There is a fucking some Walter Tobin Hackett. There you go. Interesting.
Just unbelievable to me. By the way, we're going to take a quick break. we're here with Joe Brewer, and very appreciative that he's sharing this with us, and he's been very candid, just like he was.
Just think of the coincidence. Forget the family names for a second, right? Just think of all the coincidence with this guy that there's, and I never really looked at him as a major suspect in the case. I've always thought of him as a person of interest in the case, right? That he has to be the lies and all that, he's always been in the back of my mind in the case because of the Shannan Gilbert aspect of it, the connection, at least with him and the other girls, nobody knows. I want to believe that the police investigated him, went through his phone logs, went through his computers, but that doesn't mean shit. He could have been contacting these girls through some other means. I mean, did they go to his job and go through his computer? Because sometimes people won't even use their home computers, especially when they're married. If they're hiring prostitutes, they're not going to use their regular phone. They're going to use a burner phone or something to contact. So did they investigate him that hard? I mean, it's very odd though. His whole involvement in this case is very odd because he had no involvement in the case. He could have totally been a complete nobody. Nobody would have even known he had anything to do with this case. He put himself into it. That's what's so fucking weird about it, is that he put himself in the case. Mary Gilbert didn't just pull this guy's name out of a hat. He called her, and then he lies about calling her, and then it's proven that he called her, and then he's having fake heart attacks in the parking lot, and he's, all this crazy shit. And it's like, dude, you didn't even have to be involved in this case. You fucking pushed yourself in the case. Now, could that be because he had gotten away with killing for so long and dumping bodies right outside his fucking home, basically, that now that there's attention being brought to one of his victims? Because think about it, those other victims went missing and nobody fucking knew where they were. Nobody knew that they were on Long Island, where they were. So he was arrogant, this person, this whole time. Now all of a sudden there's attention brought to one of them. Police are involved. He thrusts himself into the middle of the case for no reason. It's almost like an admission of guilt in a weird way. But all this shit, the coincidences that the belt is found and it has an H on it, that's a fucking huge coincidence. I mean, of all the other people that are suspected, I've been trying to connect the belt to them. You got Jimmy Burke, who was the police chief, right? Can't make that connection. Somebody connected the belt to him, but it's a stretch. They're saying that the belt, he was dating this guy. There's an article, actually, I mean, not an article, an interview on this Frank McKay thing that I posted in the chat. The same thing that we're listening to now with Joseph Brewer, right? There's this guy called Guy Malone, and he had an ex-wife named Heather Malone, right? And Jimmy Burke was supposedly cheating on, well, he wasn't cheating, but he was having an affair with this woman who was married to this guy named Guy Malone, right? And her name was Heather Malone. And so they're like, oh, it could be her belt from this store, and they engraved the name on it, so they tried to connect it to him. I don't know, why would he use this woman's belt? It just doesn't make any sense. But the Hackett thing, I mean, it could be a little, it could be, it's just, there's so many more coincidences. The connection with Jimmy Burke to the case is that he was a shady cop. He didn't want the FBI on this case for some reason. There's a lot of circumstantial evidence with him too. Don't get me wrong, but Hackett's circumstantial evidence is a little different. This guy literally had nothing to do with this case and literally fucking put himself into it, which is fucking weird. Why would you do that? And then lied about it. Lied about his involvement. It's very strange.
Cops, and I've got to say, this isn't my high school buddy. I met.
Let me just say though, I will be thoroughly disappointed to find out he was the serial killer. Not for any other reason than that the cops could have had him, and he spent the last 10 years free. he's living down in Florida. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it was him or if it was Burke, I'm going to be really upset because why did they get to have that 10 years free when the cops probably knew all along or just didn't investigate them good enough? Like, that sucks for the families. That's why I'm going to be disappointed.
Met him a couple of months ago, and he explained to me off the record his story. And I have said there is no possible way that this guy is lying to me. There's no way. And every time I spoke to someone who knew him, right? They're saying he's an honest guy, right? He's a partier, or he was a partier, whatever he was, but he's no killer.
A
He's
comedy
no
with
whatever.
murder. Huh.
And I've got to say this: all the cops I've spoken to, all the investigators that I've spoken to over these years, they said the same thing. Oh, Brewer's not. It's not Brewer. It's not this. Whatever. And every cop I ever spoke to that had anything to do with anybody from the investigation, they always said Joe Brewer spoke to the cops without a lawyer, which is insane. But he did, and he just gave, clear information. I don't know Michael Pack, Michael is his name. I don't know him, but Hackett lawyered up, and Hackett has changed his story a million times. Barbara Hackett, his wife, changed her story, and she, changed it. And again, I'm not saying they did it, but I'll tell you what, Joe Brewer is our very special guest. Thrilled to have him here. Look, when I said to him in person that it looks like we're going to have a new DA, and it looks like it's going to be somebody that wants to.
All right, this is just this guy rambling on about this, and there's a whole nother part to this. So if you guys are interested, I'll put the link in the chat again because it is interesting, the whole article. Where the hell's the fucking link? Hold on a second, I gotta refresh the page because the link just disappeared for some reason. But it's in there. God, this case is so just confusing. There's so many different. There's just so much going on. From the sound of the 911 calls, it seemed like a cop was trying to cover for somebody. Wait, what do you mean, Susan? And Lube and who Bieber for stealing? Yeah, his snuff film. Like, there's so. Oh my god. But then there's all this talk about the sex parties. Wait, what cop? Hold on, I'm. Which cop are you guys talking about? Burke? What was he hiding? You mean like what was he hiding from like the FBI and all that? I don't know. I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know what he was hiding. That's why it's very strange. That's some of the circumstantial evidence against him is like, why would you pull the FBI and block them from the case? Part of me thinks it's because he was so arrogant that he didn't want the FBI solving the case. He wanted the department to solve the case so that they got the accolades for it, and he got the accolades as the chief. But obviously that never happened because he ended up going to jail. But I mean, there's so many different possibilities. Most of the interviews are memories from a decade ago, which sucks. Yep. The 911 calls that Shannan Gilbert made. But what do you mean? Which cop are you talking about in the 911 in regards to the 911 call? See, like, you could look at it. That's what I'm saying. You could look at it different ways. Like, maybe he just wanted his department to do it so that, he got the accolades. Like, you got a big serial killer case under your belt. You solved this big serial killer case. But then you could also look at it like, why are you hiding it? Because you don't want to be investigated? Because are you the fucking serial killer yourself, or one of your cops, or somebody that like what's going on there? No football or poker game parties are going to be in the middle of nowhere unless some shady shit was going on. Yeah, exactly. Well, there are underground poker parties around here because technically, I mean, years ago there were, because you really weren't allowed to gamble. So the one that it kept saying inaudible, but you could tell what he was saying. Oh, all right. So that wasn't the cop. That was. Oh, all right. I see what you're saying. I don't know, Susan. I think it was just maybe they didn't pick it up. I don't know. I really don't know why. I mean, that's what I think he's saying, and I feel like I could hear it clearly, but I don't know. I don't know why they wrote inaudible on some of those things. I just think it was a shitty job of transcribing, honestly. Here's the map of the entire neighborhood with all the homes listed and residents and her path. I wonder if Hackett's where's her last stop. Yeah, that's what I want to see. Thank you. I want to see where Hackett's house is in relation to all the other houses and where she ran, because that's the one house that I've seen, before, but I haven't seen it like on a map, like an above head map like that. Hold on a second. I just got to get into my YouTube for a second. Because that's interesting. All right, hold on a second. Let me pull this out so I can share it. See, people would not cover that. Like, it bothers me that all these other cases get solved. I mean, get covered that fucking a million other people are covering, right? And it's like, this case has been going on for years. These families have been going on with no answers for so long. And it doesn't have the same, you're not going to get the same audience you would off like the Summer Wells case. So, let's not cover it. Because why? Because these people aren't important. I mean, there's new information actually coming out. Why aren't more people covering it? I just don't get it. Let's sit here and fucking talk about the same fucking cases over and over again. All right. So, what do we got here? This is their mapping of where all the bodies were found on the Ocean Parkway. And where do you see the homes? Hold on a second. Oh, wow, this one gives the distances and everything. I don't see Shannan Gilbert's name on this one. Hold on a second. It's weird. It's just weird the way they treat her case. It's like they don't want to 100% say whether they think that she was killed by the same killer or not. They don't want to say it 100%. I mean, he did kind of say it in that video, and that's the first time I've ever really officially heard it coming from the police that they think it's an accident or coincidence, but how? How could it be? What is the chances that this, prostitute gets, or, call girl, whatever you want to call her, gets called to this area where 4 other prostitutes' bodies are sitting there? It just what's the chances? And then she ends up dead too. Could it be a coincidence? Sure, it could, but hold on a second. I wanna Yes, Lost Girls is based on this. I wanna go back to the Gilgo site for a second. Let me close this for a second. Let me go back to the Gilgo site for a second because I wanna see something. Do I have it open? Yeah, I have it open. Hold on. Because I wanna see a few things. Hold on. Window. Alright. Oh, alright. It's alright, Gretchen. I'm sorry I still call you Nikki. Just like it's habit. All right, so let me just go back here. Let's go see how Shannan's name is. They have victims, and then they have Shannan Gilbert, which is weird because this has just been changed. It wasn't like that. They just put her name separate like that. So you got Shannan. I want to see if they say what Shannan. They gave the information. No, they didn't put it on here because they had recently added more information on here about the girls, about, their names, like they updated basically each of the victim profiles on here. And Let me just see something. Shannan worked as an escort advertising on Craigslist and visited a client at his Oak Beach home. Shannon's driver remained in the area while she met with the client. At some point during the meeting, Gilbert reportedly began acting irrational, prompting her client to contact the driver and have Gilbert leave his home. Okay. After refusing to leave the location at the request of her client, Gilbert eventually fled on foot onto the Oak Beach. She knocked on several doors before disappearing. The search for Gilbert led to the discovery of Melissa Bartholomew's remains near Gilgo Beach. Here's my thing. They don't talk too much about her advertising. Okay, but we know she advertised on Craigslist, right? And I think all the other girls did too. So I mean, I'm sure a lot of them did at the time, right? But let's just go to Melissa Bartholomew. I know for some of them they added the names that they used to advertise. And they put all this information. Look, she was 4 feet 10 inches tall. 4 feet 10 inches. That's tiny. I feel like these guys had to know that. Like, had to know how small these girls were. 4 feet 10 inches and was 24 years old when she was last seen. Hold on a second. $50,000. Wow, they increased it. She was a sex worker who advertised on Adult Friend Finder as well as other sites. She used aliases Chloe and Very Sexy Chloe. She had tattoos of the word Blaze and Focus on her back and letters on her chest. She was also known to meet clients at bars, restaurants, and hotels on the west side of Manhattan. At night, she was last seen. Bartholomew told a friend she was going to see a man and would be back in the morning. This friend was aware she was a sex worker, but Bartholomew offered no other details. Her cell phone records showed she traveled from the Bronx to Manhattan, most likely via taxi. Bartholomew's mother had not heard from her, been able to contact her for a few days, so she reported her missing. Oh, this was the weird one. Reported her missing to the NYPD on July 18, 2009. The investigation, this is weird, showed cell phone activity in Manhattan, Freeport, Massapequa, and Lindenhurst. Okay, so Manhattan, obviously, everybody knows where that is. Okay, Freeport, Massapequa, and Lindenhurst are basically right next to each other. Freeport's kind of far from there. That's not really close by to. So this one's weird to me. Manhattan, I get it. She drove from Manhattan. Well, I guess you kind of have to pass through Freeport to get to Massapequa, but this is the first I'm hearing about Lindenhurst here. So it says motels in and near these neighborhoods were investigated. After Bartholomew had been reported missing, her younger sister received a series of taunting phone calls from someone using her phone. So I was always under the impression, and this is what's weirding me out about this, is that they traced back the calls to her sister to Massapequa. I remember Massapequa being mentioned, right? And Manhattan. But this is the first time I'm hearing about Freeport and then Lindenhurst, right? But then here they're saying that the calls, someone using her phone, these calls are believed to have come from the killer and were made from the area near the Port Authority bus terminal on 8th Avenue. Now, and then also from Penn Station. This is totally fucking new too, because they at first said it was Times Square, and they said that she left from the Port Authority bus terminal on 8th Avenue. So I'm a little confused about this whole thing right here because this contradicts a lot of what was put out earlier. These areas were thoroughly canvassed immediately following the calls. However, due to the large amount of pedestrian and vehicle traffic, no leads were developed. On December, it just feels to me that like they're trying to make it seem like the police did their job at the time, but at the same time they're trying to make it like they didn't do the job. You know what I'm saying? That's a pretty standout with the pencil and everything. Should be easy to find on the map. Is the area. All right, hold on a second. I gotta get to my my email, but I don't want to show it in here. So hold on a second. Let me just stop the screen so I don't accidentally fucking dox people in my email. Because we know how that goes on here. Oh, wait. I don't need to get to my email. I'm so stupid. Sorry. I need to get to my chat. All right. I'm just going to hold that for a second because I want to see. Is that who? Is that Hackett's house? Because I couldn't see the chat. So hold on a second. Check this out and see if her. Hold on a second. All right. Hold that thought for a second. Let me just go back on here. I just wanted to open it while it was there. All right. Let me just do this. All right. Let me go back to where the hell was I just now? Oh, all right. Let me pull that. Hold on a second. Sorry. I just want to pull this out because, you got to be careful on here with fucking assholes that love to fucking screenshot and fucking just be dicks. All right. Let me go over here. Now I can do this. The first box is over the house. All right. Hold on a second. Share screen. I know, doesn't she look so young, Polka Dot Suzanne, in that picture? Like, she looks like a baby. Like, like she just looks like a little high school girl. I feel like that bothers me too. The police should put out the most recent pictures that they have of these girls because if you look at a lot of the pictures, like they look completely different. And seeing them how they looked closer to the time where they went missing might help trigger somebody's memory. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody could have saw him at a gas station or a 7-Eleven with the guy, the killer, and they never put out good pictures of these girls. That's always been something that bothered me in this case, is that they always look at this picture. I don't know if you guys could tell, but like me looking at it, it's probably hard for you guys to see because I know most of you guys are on phones and stuff, but like this picture isn't the actual fucking picture. It's scanned in. This is a picture of a computer screen. So this is a picture of a picture. Like they took this picture off a computer screen and then posted it on here. Does that make sense to you guys? Like I could see the lines from the screen. If you've ever taken a picture of like an old school computer screen and it gets like those weird lines in it, you could see it on here. So like it's all pixelated and like fuzzy and it's an old picture. Like to me that looks like her high school picture. It's distorted. Her arms look weird and short, like because it's being taken off of a fucking picture, off of a screen. It's not even like the actual picture scanned in. So fucking weird. It's embarrassing. Like, come on, do better, Suffolk County. All right, so that's her. And this whole part, like I said, just totally fucking confuses the shit out of me because oh, hey, KB Bells. This part confuses the shit out of me because they and Kimberly, hey, they totally changed details here that were out prior to this. So it's very confusing. All right, let me go back to let's go to Maureen Brainerd Barnes. Let's see how tall she was. Just curious to see. All right, so she was 25 years old. She was living in Connecticut, believed to have taken an Amtrak train from New London, Connecticut to Grand Central Terminal in Manhattan on July 6, 2007. While in Manhattan, she was staying at the Super 8 motel. I didn't even know that there was a Super 8 motel in Manhattan. Like, this is news to me. Located at 59 West 46th Street. At the time, Brainerd Barnes, who was 4 feet 11 inches tall. Dude, how I just don't understand. How did this guy know that all these girls were so tiny? Like, part of me makes it feel like he was kind of small But I mean, he could also be big, but it kind of makes me feel like he was small, so he picked like extra small girls to like overpower because like these girls are extremely small, which makes, or maybe he was a big guy with a leg that was fake. So he wanted to make sure the girls were really tiny so that he could overpower them. I mean, the average height of a woman is, I think, around 5'3" or 5'4". So, like, these girls being this short is kind of a unique characteristic to them, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, to be under 5 feet tall as a grown woman is not all that common. I just find it strange that, like, he specifically targeted girls who were under 5 feet tall. It's just strange. Alright, so where did I leave off there? Fuck, I just burned myself. Alright, so she was under 4 foot 11 inches tall, was working as a sex worker, advertising on Craigslist, Backpage, and other websites. She was known to advertise under the names Juliana or Marie. Like, I wish we knew this shit because this is what web sleuths are so good at. Like, if we would have known these names back at the time when this shit happened, it would have been possible to go back through Craigslist and go back through Backpage and find some of these ads and you know what I'm saying? Like, search for people. It's hey, I'm beating Petty and Winter here. What do you mean? Heels in the air. How you doing, girl? Oh, Petty. I see Petty Patty. All right, hey. Um, interesting. All right. Her routine was to travel to Manhattan for a few days to work as an escort and then return home to Connecticut. While in Manhattan, she was known to stay at the Super 8, the Red Roof Inn on West 32nd Street, on the Carter Hotel on West 43rd Street, and the Manhattan Hotel on 8th Avenue. So she worked in Manhattan. On occasion, Brainerd Barnes would travel with another female who worked out of a different room at the same location. They like, where is that girl? Let's talk to that girl. You know, who is that? Her friends, people, somebody has to fucking know something. They both may have used a male friend who they would refer to as their cousin to accompany them and offer a level of safety and protection. Brainerd Barnes traveled with her female friend the weekend she went missing. However, her friend returned home early and Brainerd Barnes stayed behind. Brainerd Barnes was last heard from July 9th, 2007 at 11:43 p.m. when she called a friend in Connecticut. Although she was known to work out of motel rooms on the night of July 9th, 2007, she told her friend she would be going to meet someone outside of the motel on an out call. Brainerd Barnes was reported missing by a friend to the Norwich Police Department on July 14th, 2007. The NYPD assisted the Norwich Police Department in the missing person investigation, eventually taking it over. Brainerd Barnes was found December 13th on the north side of Ocean Parkway. So, she is believed to be the first victim in what is known as the Gilgo Four. So she was the first one. And then look at the pictures of her. They only have 2 pictures. Like, seriously, get some more pictures. All right, let's go down. Amber Lynn Costello. Amber was the only one that actually lived on Long Island. Very close to Go-Go Beach, actually. All right, so she was 27 years old and lived at 1112 America Avenue. Sorry, I can't see the chat right now, so if anybody's talking to me, I apologize. In West Babylon, when she was last seen by acquaintances, Costello was a heroin addict who lived at a house with another female and 2 men who were also heroin addicts. Costello, who was 4 feet 11 inches tall and was a sex worker who advertised on Craigslist and Backpage to support her and her roommate's heroin addiction. Costello used the name Carolina or Mia and her tattoos of chaos and had tattoos of chaos on her neck, a butterfly on her lower back, and the word Margaret on her leg, which is so weird. I wonder what that is. Costello had moved to New York from Clearwater, Florida, and had completed a 28-day drug rehab but had relapsed not long before her disappearance. Costello and her roommates shared a cell phone. The other female roommate was also a sex worker supporting a heroin addiction, and the two male roommates would arrange dates with clients for the women. Okay, now this is another thing I'm totally confused about. Her sister, and they're calling her a roommate now. I believe that roommate that they're referring to was her sister. I know at one point in time the sister lived with her and the other two guy roommates, and now they're just calling her a roommate. I don't know. Costello did in calls at her home as well as out calls. When Costello would meet clients at her home, the two male roommates would often arrange a scam during which, once a client had paid money and before any sex acts occurred, they would confront the client saying Costello was their girlfriend and the client would flee. Costello was last seen leaving her residence on foot on September 2nd, 2010 to meet a client who was picking her up at her house. But he didn't pick her up at her house because the roommate, Dave, whatever his name was, said that she walked around the block. So he picked her up around the block. Costello did not have her cell phone with her at the time, and she was never reported missing. That's sad. She was never even reported missing. Costello was found on December 13th. How did they identify her, though, if she was never found missing? I mean, if she was never reported missing. Huh. That's weird. During the search for missing person Shannan Gilbert, she is believed to be the fourth victim, so she was the last one. Okay. It's so hard to remember all these little details. This. And then you got the last person listed on here. I wish they would have put them on order. And I'm not gonna go through all these other girls, although I mean they're victims and I hate to not give them attention. I feel like these two girls are connected somehow, but they're not connected with these four. I could be wrong, but that's just the way I feel. These four girls were found in the same area, the same way. Everything about them was the same. They didn't give us Amberlyn Costello's sizes, her height. Megan Waterman was 22 years old when she was last seen on June 6, 2010. Waterman was a resident of Scarborough, Maine, and was a sex worker who advertised on Craigslist and Backpage. She used the names Lexi and Sexy Lexi. Like, I feel like this is like her high school picture. Like, why do we not have a more updated picture? She was last seen by her family boarding a New York bound Concord Trailways bus in Maine, possibly with her pimp. Waterman was staying at the Holiday Inn Express located at 2050 Express Drive in Hauppauge. And I remember, if you guys were here, I showed they released that footage of her in the building just kind of walking around. Waterman was known to stay at other hotels and motels on Long Island, including Extended Stay America and Bethpage. Waterman left the Holiday Inn Express at 1:30 a.m. on June 6, 2010 to meet a client. Waterman called her pimp, who was in Brooklyn at the time, to tell him she was going to a convenience store near the hotel. Oh, I didn't know that. Wait a second. She left the Holiday Inn at 1:30 a.m. on June 6, 2010. She called her pimp, who was in Brooklyn at the time, to tell him she was going to a convenience store near the hotel. So did she lie to him? Did she set up a call that he didn't know about and she went out and then she lied and said that she was going to a store? That's interesting. I didn't know that. That's news to me. Waterman was reported missing to the Scarborough, Maine Police Department on June 8th, 2010. Family members felt it was unlike her to not call them to check in on her 3-year-old daughter. Oh my God, that's so sad. Why would she come all the way from Maine to Long Island? Like, that's a far fucking ride to come here. I don't get it. Unless her boyfriend was from New York or something, or the pimp or whatever, that's weird. It just says her pimp was arrested on federal charges of interstate trafficking of prostitutes on April 11th, 2012. Oh, that's interesting. And was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison in January 2013. There is no information to suggest he had any knowledge or participated. So why even include this in here? That's interesting. And then they have the surveillance video of her, which we looked at the last time. Or is this the only one that has all these extra pictures? Crime scene photos. And that's her in the hotel that night, the last night. And then they have all these pictures, and look how different she looks in all these pictures. Like that and that doesn't even look like the same person. So weird. And neither does that. She looks different in every picture. Like none of these pictures, she looks totally different in every picture. Right? These are like older pictures. Here's another one of a computer screen. Oh my God. That's from, these are all pictures taken off a computer screen. Like you could fucking see the lines. Oh my God, dude. Why? Why don't they have clear pictures of these girls? I just don't get it. I don't get it. They're literally pictures off a fucking computer screen. I want to say that's what they were sent and that's why they're like that, but that's obviously every, every girl. No. So, yeah, this is just, she's totally different in every picture. So think of like this many years later, somebody remembering her face, that night. Like, what good is it? It's 10 years later, more than 10 years later. When did they say she went missing? What year was it? During the search, she's believed to be the third victim. So in 2010. So it's like 12 years since she went missing. Nobody's going to remember. They do deserve better pictures. They really do. I mean, I know that 10, 12 years ago, technology, I believe 12 years ago, we had some decent digital photography. I mean, there has to be newer pictures of these girls out there. There just has to be. 10 years ago, the iPhone was out, they didn't have selfies. I mean, come on. So, yeah, this whole case has just been haunts me. It just fucking haunts me. I mean, I feel like they're not cared about as much because they're not white, uh, beautiful, rich girls that went missing. You know what I'm saying? They're lost girls. They're fucking girls who just went down the wrong path in life to support whatever it was, a child in one case, a drug addict in another case, or whatever it was. They just went down the wrong path. They got sucked into this life and they didn't deserve to die because of it. They just were looking to survive. I mean, do our jobs define us as who we are as people? So sad. I still have memory cards. Me too. How does nobody have pictures? I have so many pictures. Me too. That's what I don't understand. And clear pictures from 10, 15 years ago. I mean, yeah, that's why they're targeted. Nobody cares. It's so true. It's exactly why they're targeted, is because often they don't go reported. I mean, it seems like, though, out of these 4 girls, at least 3 of them had good families who cared about them. And I'll even add Shannan Gilbert into that. It's 5 girls, that reported them. The only girl out of the 5 of them that wasn't reported missing was Amberlyn Costello, and I believe it's because I forget the story. She had some really tragic story with her family. I don't know if her mother passed away or something like that. So, that could be part of the reason too. And she's living with a bunch of drug addicts who, they're not concerned about that. They're concerned about their drugs. Check my community post in 2 minutes. I'm posting something. Okay. But damn, it's just sad. Then we have the other victims, which I personally don't know if they're connected. It's just the time from when they went missing. Do they fit the profile as far as professions? Yeah. Wow, that's the only information that they put on this girl. Partial skeletal remains of Jessica Taylor, an escort working in New York City, were located in a wooded area in Manorville. Additional remains were discovered on March 29th, 2011, along Ocean Parkway during a search for Shannan Gilbert. That's it. That's all they have about her. That's sad. She's pretty. She doesn't look like the rest of the girls, and neither does this girl, Valerie Mack. Although they posted a mugshot, it looks like. So, maybe she wasn't at her best in this picture, but they posted two. She was located in Manorville. I don't know. I feel like these two are related somehow to one another, but not related to the rest of them. I mean, again, there's so many of these girls that go missing that do this. So, last known address in Philadelphia, worked as an escort using the alias Melissa Taylor. There's no familial relationship between Mac and Jessica Taylor. Family members last saw Mac in the spring or summer of 2000 in Port Republic, New Jersey, as she was never reported missing. Wow. Positive identification. Yeah, so they known photographs of her. Let's see if they have. Oh my God. I never saw those. Hold on a second. I've seen all the. Oh wow, she totally doesn't even look like the same person in this picture. Holy shit. Yeah, she was on some serious drugs. You could tell her face really changes. That don't even look like the same person. This one and this one. She must have been. That says 2000. That's her last known photo. But they don't say what year it is. So from 98, 2000. She don't look the same in that picture. I don't know. That totally doesn't even look like her. The hair is different. Wow. These girls really know how to transform themselves. I'm telling you, they just don't look the same. Oh, I never saw this crime scene photos, but oh wow. Huh. Interesting. Hold on a second. Let me go back up here. They didn't have any additional pictures of her, did they? No. That's it. There's very little information on this girl. And then you got this person who still hasn't been identified. Asian male. And then you got the unidentified toddler who I don't know if these are related. These four. You got the first four and then you got the last four, and I don't know if they're related. All of them. So sad. Like, who the fuck, man? I always think of, I don't know. I've lived here my whole life, and I mean, there's been shit that's happened here, but never anything like this. It's a relatively quiet place to live, Long Island, There it is. It's a nice place. I mean, there's of course crime and there's shit that goes on, but you feel safe here. You know what I'm saying? I never felt unsafe on Long Island anywhere. And it's just sad to know that all this shit was going on. It's kind of scary. That way the baby on there, can I see it? There's no actual picture. I'll show you the hold on a second. I'll show you the post for it, but there's nothing there except, hold on a second. I believe there was jewelry found for the baby. Where did we just see that? Maybe just says the skeletal remains of a female toddler were discovered along Ocean Parkway in close proximity to Valerie Mack on April 4th, 2011. It is believed the toddler was approximately 2 years old at the time of her death and likely non-Caucasian. So they were close to her? Is that where the jewelry pictures are? Hold on a second. Let me go back up to her. I didn't even know that. All right. Where are the jewelry pictures? I feel like I just saw that. Because there was jewelry with the baby or something. I forget. There's so many details. Hold on. Why do I feel like I just saw this? Maybe it was her. Wow, why did I just feel like I saw the jewelry picture? Or maybe I was just doing things. I don't know. There was a picture of jewelry. I remember they had put it out at some point in time because oh my god. It was found with the baby. I remember that. But now I don't know where it is. You did no, I didn't watch the Netflix movie because there's no point, like, to me. I don't know. I started watching it and I was just like, I don't even want to watch this because it's not helping anything. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not helping to solve the case and it's kind of pointless to have a movie about a case that's not even solved, in my opinion. I know a lot of people watched it. I just felt like I read the book that it was based on. So, you know, the book I thought was enough. Like there was no purpose of me watching the movie after reading the book. I read the book when it first came out, so Lost Girls book. It was a good book. I mean, it gave a lot of detail about the girls, their lives, you know, some of the things, but I feel like it was written so long ago that back at that time, um I don't know. Not that people were afraid to say things, but it's possible, you know, a lot of the family members might have been scared that they were going to like hinder the investigation because you got to remember the police at the time were trying to keep everything so quiet because, you know, they didn't want to, you know, disrupt the case or blah blah blah. All right, Gretchen, hold on. Let me check that out. So they were basically keeping everybody quiet. Like I would love to hear more from the sister that was called by the killer. The killer called the sister, you know, and I would love to hear more about those calls and I know she did some interviews about them, you know, and you could hear a little bit more, but like I don't know. It's just crazy. I want to know why some of the things were switched up, some of the details, or at least I feel like they're switched up from how I remember them. The whole story is so fucking sad. Um, hold on, let me find you. He's likely not responsible. Oh, I'm reading. Is this an old? You'd hate that cop. I already hate him. You do hear some of the phone call. I heard the whole thing they play I played it. Well, I didn't play the whole thing, but the worst part is the part where she's screaming because it's like, what is she screaming? What happened? Hold on a second. I circled his house and Shannon's dumpsite in blue by Hackett's house. Shannon's body. Opposite side of Shannon's. It is all very close to his house. Oh, there's the jewelry picture. I see it in your picture. That's interesting. Hold on a second. Let me share this real quick. I gotta find my StreamYards. second. Imagine that poor girl, her sister and mother killed. I know, it's so sad. That's just terrible. All right. Like, to add more tragedy to this case that's already just absolutely horrible. All right, so let's see what we got here. So you're showing here. Let me scroll up here. Bodies of others found opposite side of Hackett's and Shannon's body. Yeah, they're found on the other side of the highway. So she was found on one side of the highway, and she was found on the other side. Although I don't think she was found this far down. If his house is over here, I think she was found where this blue area was, right? This blue circle. And then, because this is the south side of the highway. So the other bodies, I believe, were found on the north side of the highway, and she was found on the south side of the highway, if I remember correctly. Because I believe that Oak Beach is on the south side. I drove in there one day. I wanted to drive like into like the houses, but you can't get in there unless you know somebody. There's a gate. But I drove into like, what's weird is like right outside of the houses, and I don't know if it was there at the time, I forget. There's like this, it's like a public space. Not that anybody would have been there at that time when, well, I mean, it's possible people could have been there because people do fish down there. They might have been fishing at night. A lot of people night fish here. They get crabs and I don't know, all sorts of shit at night. Because if you go to like the docks at night, there'll be people fishing at night. It's really weird. And even like if you go down to the beaches, there's one beach, really only one beach where you could camp at down there, and you could it's for fishing. It's for people that fish. So, there'll be people night fishing, which is kind of weird to me, but people do it. And so that little area where those houses are, there's like a right outside of that, there's this parking lot, and there's docks, kind of like a little pier, I guess, where people could walk out, go onto the beach and stuff. But nobody would have been there at that time, I don't think, when she, was running screaming from the house. Everything's found very close to his home, though. But I mean, Oak Beach is right next to Gilgo Beach, basically. Not right next to it, but it's kind of in the same area. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a couple of miles down the road. So they were found in Gilgo, and Oak Beach it's a little far away, but not terribly far away. Unique. It probably looks much further away. It's always distorted. I know, yeah, it does. It looks really far away. What's his address? It's 47 Larboard Court. Let me see. I want to look that up real quick. Let's get a little aerial view of this guy's house here, which isn't his house anymore, but hold on a second. Google 47 Larboard Court. Okay. 47. So who's excited to watch I'm excited to be able to watch the Johnny Depp trial again tomorrow. Okay, so let me look at the maps. I just want to see, like, since I've been to these areas, I want to see I'll show you guys. I mean, let me show you guys the relation of everything, because it's kind of, unless you're like familiar with the area, it's kind of hard to understand. Share screen. Okay. Here's the maps. Here's Google Maps. Okay, so this is his address. So this is in Oak Beach right here, right? Gilgo is over here. So let's zoom into his house. So it's close by, but it's a little distance, you know. I would say like, I don't know, 4 miles maybe less. If you're actually driving. And so the bodies were found closer to this area right here. And then this is where Shannan was found, in this area right here. Running towards the highway, actually, which is crazy. Let me go on this view. I like the, yeah, there we go. Okay. I like this view better. So there's his house, Hackett's house, right? Oh yeah, oh, all right. So wait a second. Now we know that. So, all right, Brewer's house was one of these houses, right? They circled it in the video. She ran down here to Coletti's house, which was this house, or one of these houses right here, right? Then she runs up here to the beach road, which is, look, I'll show you guys how you get out of here. Look how long the road is to get out of there. See where it says Oak Beach Road? So it's all the way, look how far you have to go. And here's a little parking lot that I was just telling you guys about with the pier and everything. Here's a little, you could walk out on this thing. I don't know if this was there at the time, because I remember going here and I was like, oh, this is all new. Either they had rebuilt the dock or something. So like to get there, you have to drive in here and then go back all the way down this road, right? And you could see like you could see the houses, but it's like there's a lot of trees and shit, so it's kind of hard to see the houses. Oh, so shit, Brewer's house is right there. This makes me want to go back again. Um, right? Then you go, I guess that's where the little booth was, right over here, and then um she stopped at Barbara Brennan's house, which was this house. And then look, there's Hackett's house right there. So it would make sense that she went from her house to his house. But then her belongings were found here, and her body was found all the way like up here somewhere. Right? So here's Hackett's house, and her body's found. Here's that channel they were talking about in the video for the mosquitoes clearing. So she ran in somewhere around here, it looked like. And her belongings were found somewhere along that path, right? And then she started making her way up to the Ocean Parkway, which is kind of funny because she was, remember in the video they said that, oh, you know, you go in the reeds and you're disoriented and you can't tell which way the parkway is and which way this way. But clearly, if she ran through here, she had to somewhat know where she was going. She had to see the bridge at least, because look here, let me zoom out. The bridge is high, dude. You can see the bridge. Trust me. I've driven on this road a million times on the Ocean Parkway. The bridge is right here. I mean, you can't miss it. It's pretty big, pretty lit up at night. That's the one thing that's lit up is the bridge. And then you got this bridge, which is huge. Look how long this bridge is. And that's the really big bridge that, I mean, you can't miss it. It's pretty bright. So even if you're running through here, even if you're over here, you have to be able to see the bridge, both bridges. This one's kind of smaller. This one's like a, what do you call it? I don't know how to explain it. It's like it's almost like a drawbridge kind of looking bridge. This one's like a big bridge. I mean, it has like a cage almost look to it, you know? So if she's running through here, there's no fucking way you don't see the bridge from here. There's just no fucking way that you wouldn't see the bridge. I mean, that doesn't even make sense. So clearly she had to have some sense of where she was going, that the road was over here, because there's this bridge, and she had to know that she didn't cross the big bridge when she was coming, because it's like you see it. This bridge is big. There's no missing it. So, so anyway, that's where her body was found, right up in here. And I remember driving down here when they were digging, looking for her, right? Then, let's go down. Oh, that just scared me. The fuck was that? All the way down here, right? We're still not at Gilgo yet. Here's Gilgo State Park, but she was found by the beach area. The bodies. That's Cedar Beach. Hold on a second. Oh, yeah, Gilgo Beach is way down here, right? Where am I going? Yeah, here. So the bodies, I believe, were found up in this area, right here. Right here. Right before you get to Gilgo Beach. Like, it doesn't look that far on the map, but it's pretty far when you're driving. It's a good couple minute drive to get from Oak Beach to Gilgo Beach. You see the distance right there? I mean, I can't even fit it. This is Gilgo State Park, but the beach where the bodies were found on this side, up here more. And years ago when you drove down, you used to see all the crosses for them, but they got, I don't know what happened to them. Now there's like a bicycle lane over there, so they changed some shit, but this is it. This isn't even the real beach. If you're really going to go to the beach, this is where you go to the beach over here. There's a 4-wheel drive beach down here. That's where you could camp at night. And then, you go across the bridge. And so look, for her to go to find any civilization from here, she would have had to go all the way to this, okay? Watch how far she would have had to go for fucking civilization. This is so fucked up. If she ran to find help. So coming from here, she would have had to go all the way down here, okay? She would have had to run across the bridge. She would have had to go all the way through here, cross another fucking thing to get back to the mainland. This is the big, big bridge. This bridge is fucking huge. I'm sorry, I totally forgot about this bridge. You definitely would see that from Oak Beach. That bridge is huge. That's a long bridge. This one's like a little tiny one. Okay, this bridge is lit up at night, no questions, and it's huge. Look how long it is. I mean, there's no way. So she had to have some sense of where she was going. Okay, then these are all houses. I mean, there's other stuff in here, but nothing that you could do. Like, I got a flat tire one time coming off the beach. I had to come all the way to here. This is the first place where you could go that there's a gas station right up here. So, I mean, look how far she would have had to. You guys don't understand how long this bridge is. Like, it's fucking long. So to get back to any type of civilization, she just never would have been able to do it. There's no way you're running across that bridge. I would be terrified to fucking run across that bridge at night. I'd be terrified to run across that bridge during the day. Shit. There's nowhere to run. It's 2 lanes going one way and oh shit. There's 2 lanes going one way and 2 lanes going another way. Like, this is nothing. This is all nothing. This is all closed down at night. There's nothing here. So all these like buildings, it's state park buildings. There's a fucking lighthouse. Well, not right there. The lighthouse is down here, I think, but yeah, it's not even a lighthouse. The lighthouse is actually, which I don't know if you could see it at night. But there's actually a lighthouse right here. Right there. So, I mean, there are things that could give you a sense of where you are. I would love to go down there at night and look up. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, they're showing us running through the reeds, but, like, I would like to be able to see, like, what was up. What do you see the bridge? Because, in my opinion, I know that driving on the Robert Moses highway where on the Ocean Parkway where the bodies were found, I know that you could see the bridge for a pretty good distance as you're driving up to it. So she had to be able to see that bridge and know that, okay, I came over that bridge on the way here. I mean, because it's a pretty nice sight, you know, while you're driving out there. It's like this big bridge just kind of in the middle of nowhere. So I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's a scary place at night. When you're running in brush, you don't look up. I mean, but chick, think of running straight through something. I know he said that they could get up to 12 feet or whatever the hell he said, but like when she's also running through that little neighborhood there, like that bridge is right there. It's lit up. It's big. I mean, you'd have to see it. It's like saying like, oh, I can't see the Verrazano Bridge. Like, you know, you'd have to see it. Although I don't think it's quite as high as the Verrazano Bridge. I'm just saying, like, it's fucking big. It's a big bridge. Maybe MGL's husband is a killer. She's never home and getting any right. So, think the bodies of the others are totally separate. Think Shannan crossed the wrong asshole. I don't know. I don't know what I think. Honestly. I really think that this fucking Hackett character needs to fucking be looked into, though. That's what I think. Because that's just scary. Dude, like she, you know, just thinking about this, just driving over here, right? Coming out from Manhattan, like driving out into this fucking middle of nowhere at night must be like in and of itself kind of scary. You know what I'm saying? Like you're coming from Manhattan, and once I would assume they took the Southern State Parkway at some point. They came out here, and like the further out east you get, the darker things get. You know what I'm saying? And then they get off on here, right? The Robert Moses Causeway, and it's just like dark. There's no houses. You really can't see anything when you're on the Robert Moses. It's just a highway, and then there's like trees on either side, right? So you're driving all the way down here. It's kind of dark, right? Then you just hit this bridge and you come across the bridge and then you get off the bridge and it's just like you kind of drive into like fucking darkness at night. You know, it's once you turn onto the Ocean Parkway, it's like you're just driving into darkness, basically. I mean, I don't think it's lit up at night very much. The highway itself. There might be a light every so often, but so I could just imagine driving in here, right? Then coming down here and driving down shit. When I drove during the day down this long road to get into this, you know, complex that they lived in or whatever, it's kind of creepy. You're driving behind these houses and it's like old trees and you're on this dark road. I could guarantee you there's no lights on Oak Beach Road over here. And you're just kind of driving down this long ass road. Well, you're driving from right here because you turn right into there. And it's a long road, dude. And then, you know, just coming into this little area, I don't think it's very well lit at night. I don't think there's street lights in here. I think there's probably lights on the houses, but I don't think there's any street lights. And then to run into this fucking area, you couldn't pay me. I would have just kept knocking on people's doors. I don't know. I don't know what I would have done in her situation. I honestly don't, because we don't even know what the fuck she was running from. 1 minute she's in the house, and the next minute she's running, screaming. And I think she might have been screaming because Pac was obviously she got paranoid that her driver was part of this shit. And then she just freaked out, and then he started following her, and she probably just was screaming, getting more freaked out because she accuses him at some point being part of something. Then after she struggles, she ran, chased, caught up, choked her again, and her necklace broke, falls off. She gets away. She came disoriented and drowned. Well, that's what that was one of the theories, was that she drowned. but I think she was found face up, which I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean she didn't drown. I was saying before, Nikki, I don't know if you were in here, but I was like, what if, right? She runs from, hold on, let me zoom out just a little. Okay. So she runs from Brewer's house right here, runs to Coletti's house, okay? Runs away from Coletti's house, comes all the way down here. I don't know why she didn't turn down this block where there was more houses, but for some reason she goes down Acre Way and she ends up at what's her name's house? Barbara Brennan's house right here. Okay? Down here. Then after she leaves her house, she comes over here and she goes into Hackett's house. They say her belongings were here, somewhere in here, and then her body was found like 100 feet, south of the parkway. What if he chased her down this way, right? She starts running into here to hide. He grabs her, and that's when she drops her belongings, gets her in the car or something, brings her back to the house, whatever he does, and then drives her out here to go dump her down the road with the rest of the bodies, if he's the killer, right? But instead, he gets lazy and he drives here and he remembers, oh, you know what? Look at this big area over here. Nobody's ever going to find her. He could watch over it from his house, and he just gets over here and boom, she dumps her body like 50 feet. How do they know she actually ran this whole way through the reeds? They say that it's like impenetrable, right, at some areas. So what would make them think that she was able to get this far running if it was impenetrable? Even if she followed this, that's scary to do at night, man. I think somebody caught her here, dragged her out, and then fucking drove her out here to dump her somewhere, and they just dumped her here. They got fucking scared or whatever, and they dumped her ass over. Not to say it like that, but you know what I'm saying. They dumped her somewhere over here because the other bodies were found, I believe it was like 50 to something feet off the road. Or maybe it was 50 feet apart. I don't remember how far off the road they were. I don't think they were too far, but let's go down here. Hold on. Coastal Greenway. That's the bike path that they built. If you go down, why am I struggling doing all this? Let me just zoom out instead of like scrolling forever. So you go down to Gilgo. I mean, maybe they got lazy and they didn't feel like driving this whole way. Ocean Parkway. Right in here, I believe, is where the bodies were dumped. Right before Gilgo Beach. Hemlock Cove, yeah. Was it after this or before this? I can't remember. I think it was either... I gotta look at those pictures you sent. I forgot. It was either this one. I always know it's one of these little things that sticks out. It's either this one or this one area. I think it might have been this one right here where they were all found. Because then Gilgo Beach is right there, which is why they call it Gilgo. And then the 4x4 is right there. So there's like an area where you could turn around somewhere. I remember looking for this years ago. I don't know if it's still the same though. But yeah, so many different things. I think the reason the medical examiner reported signs of strangulation, so I think that's why she was telling 911 she was in danger. Hold on a second. Let me go back up there. Maybe it took a while to get that far when she lost Dr. One Leg. It's possible. She was so disoriented from the read whatever drugs and almost losing consciousness from multiple strangulation attempts. She's running and afraid. Very possible. Go back up there. She's caught up, choked her again. Her necklace broke, falls off. She gets away. Dr. Hackett couldn't chase her. See, I mean, that's very possible. They said that, well, her family had the independent autopsy done, and they said that her hyoid bone was broken or missing or something, and that's an indication that somebody was maybe strangled, but it could also be, animals picking her bones apart and her remains apart. But what's the chances they take that one bone? You know what I'm saying? And like leave other ones in her neck there. Hates women, rejected on a dated site or at a local bar. Yeah, definitely. No, Smokey, you're not blocked. Why would you ever be blocked in here? No way. Smoke a pee? Think he was her attacker and she got away. No telling how long she wandered out there and finally succumbed to the elements. I don't think he took her. Here's another thing that people forget, right? I believe she went missing in May. And like it's May right now. Dude, the water in May is fucking freezing here still. Like you can't go in the ocean or any bodies of water here. I mean, even fucking shit, even people's pools. We don't usually like my family, we didn't open our pool until June. Okay, because it's too cold in May to go swimming. I know people who open their pools now, um, but they might have like a heated pool. We didn't have a heated pool, so there's no point of opening your pool up in May. You're just like giving yourself another month of, you know what I'm saying, of having to maintain a pool that nobody's swimming in. So we usually would open our pool up sometime in June, usually around Father's Day. And then like it wouldn't even be warm enough to swim in until like the beginning of July. I mean, when we were kids, we used to go in it and freeze our asses off until our lips were blue. But like realistically, the water didn't get warm. And so like the ocean here, like the ocean doesn't get warm until like July and like warm enough where it's like comfortable to swim in because it's so hot outside. You know what I'm saying? But in May, the water's still fucking cold. It's like in the 30s, maybe 40s. So if she ended up in some water, while she was running down that trench or something, it's fucking cold, dude. The beach is cold. This area, when you go to like, I used to camp out, um, in various times during the summer, from like June till August, right? And at night, it's fucking cold on the beach, dude. It is fucking cold. You need a jacket. I mean, it's not like freezing by any means, but even when you're at the beach and it's like 80, 90 degrees that day, at night it gets fucking cold. You're right on the ocean, the water's freezing. It gets cold at night. I mean, shivering cold. So I can imagine in May. I've never been down there, in May camping at night, so I can imagine how cold it is. Like right now, here where I am, it's probably around 50 degrees right now. Maybe 60. Down by the beach, it's like 5 to 10 degrees colder than it is. I'm inland, so I mean, if she's down at the beach in May running through the water, dude, she very well could have gotten, hypothermia. She's on drugs. She could have went into shock. I mean, that's very possible. Very possible. Here too, the water table is high from snow belt. Feels her buddy, you sink. Well, that's another thing, Dal. She could have gotten stuck in the mud. That whole area is marshlands, and she absolutely could have gotten stuck somewhere. Like her feet literally could have sunken in down to her knees like quicksand. You know what I'm saying? And she could have gotten stuck on top of being wet and cold. I mean, so I personally don't think it's so far fetched that she died on her own. I mean, that's not too far fetched for me. That's why I think her story is just so hard for the police to figure out because it almost could be like that. It's just, is it a coincidence that they found all these other girls' bodies there? I mean, shit, weirder things have happened in this world. It could be a coincidence. I don't know. What gets me is though notices his car. No, well, dolls. If you were at that area, like our beach season here is pretty much June to September, right? The beach is open, really open. They're open year round. I mean, you could go down there year round, but like they open and that's when they start charging. So that's why I'm calling it beach season. Um I believe is around June, the end of June, maybe even the beginning of July. So it's very short. It's a very short span of time. And so, you go down this area in May, especially at night, even in the summer, even during the height of beach season, there's nobody on this road. It's There's no reason to be on this road at night unless you live in one of the houses, which as you can see, there's not many houses, or if you're going to the beach, which you're not allowed to go on the beaches at night. So the police will stop you. This is all state owned. So state police are all over these fucking roads, and when I say all over them, I mean, during the day there's a lot of them, but at night, no. At night there's nobody. There might be one patrol car maybe that's going up and down the whole Ocean Parkway, but it's not a very heavy populated area at all. I mean, it's pretty desolate, it's pretty dead and empty. I mean, you can see, look, there's just nothing around here. There's nothing going on except these parking lots where you could go to the beach. That's it. So there's really no reason for people to be down here at night. So if he was dumping bodies at like midnight, that's a great time to be doing that, because there's, the chances, even if you're pulled over on the side of the road, most people are probably just going to assume you have a flat tire and they're just going to drive by you. You know what I'm saying? Or if they see you even, doing something in the woods, they probably think you're going to the bathroom or something, that you pulled over, because it wouldn't be that weird to think that on a road like this where, look, it goes on for miles and miles and there's nowhere to stop. There's no stores, there's no restaurants, there's nothing on this road except for beaches all the way from here all the way to here. So that's the only this whole big stretch. And then if you want to go onto this island, you have to cross over this bridge and then come back over this bridge. And this is called Long Beach. It's cool over here, actually. It's a cool area, but this is this is a pretty long stretch of nothing. No stores. So from here all the way here, all the way to here, there's nothing. No stores, no gas stations, nothing. So if somebody pulled over to, pee on the side of the road, honestly, it wouldn't be that uncommon. So, but again, nobody's really down here during the nighttime, because there's really only two ways off of here. It's through here or this bridge, but this bridge really brings you, to here. So, and it's a long ride. This is a good, if you get on this bridge and you drive down to Jones Beach, that's like a good maybe 25-minute ride, half hour from here to all the way down here. So it's a far ride. It's a beautiful ride during the day, though. So nobody's there at night. It's just totally not populated, which is why many different killers very possibly could have used it as a dumping ground, because it's just, nobody's there. It's seasonal, for people to be there. And it's also just the area where they dump the bodies. I mean, those girls never would have been found if she didn't go missing. They never would have been found, which is so sad, especially after Hurricane Sandy hit. No way. It's always 10 degrees colder at the beach. Yeah, it's freezing. Hyoid bone is hard to break and rare to be broken independent of strangulation. It's rare to break with hanging or neck breaking. It has to be broken. Yeah, you're right. But they don't know if the bones were missing because of like animals too picking at it. At least that's what they said. It is fucking freezing. Yeah, Memorial Day to Labor Day. You're probably right, because Memorial Day is when they do the air show at Jones Beach and everything, which is fucking awesome, by the way. Our fishing pass starts at April. Yeah, for like the hardcore fishing people, there's definitely, this season's probably a little longer because of spring. You want to catch a fish. Definitely need more trail cams down there. Keep track of what's going on. I think there's cameras actually now. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on down there. Focus force direct trauma. Anyway, all right, it's getting late and I definitely have to end this because I have to get to bed and get my son up. And I had the like longest weekend in the world, and it's like almost 2. So I'll be back. Hopefully they'll keep releasing more information for us and we'll find out more shit. I don't know. But oh, I'm tired. Thank you guys for hanging out for the night. And I didn't want to go live tomorrow because I'm like, everybody's gonna be listening to the Johnny Depp trial. Most of us. I know I will be. I want to listen to it. I mean, it's like Amber Heard's still on the stand tomorrow, so she might be getting cross-examined. It's time to watch. If there's any time to watch, it's tomorrow. So, but anyway, we'll be back. We'll have more discussions. Thanks, Nikki, for sending me all the links, and thank you guys for hanging. Nick, I'll call you tomorrow. Bye, Mercedes girl. Bye, dolls. And I'll come see you, dolls. And I'll talk to you guys soon. All right, I'm going to bed. Have a good night, everybody. Bye, Petty Petty. Your rum. No, get a mega pint, girl. Mega pint. All right, I'll see you guys later.